All right, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Pat Ngoho is with us. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. It's great to see you all, and I'm amazed at this setup that you guys got going.
We've heard that before. Yeah, I mean, over the years, we've just kind of, just implemented a little more and a little more and a little more. And after, this is our 9th year doing it, 2025. So, yeah, by the time you come back and, again to be, for another round 2, we'll have even more stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying.
We're neighbors, as we found out. And I drive by or walk by this place all the time, and I had no idea that this whole little empire was going on in here.
Now you can bring. Well, we don't want to give away exactly where we are, but your address is 457. I'm just kidding.
We're close.
You can knock on the door now and come on in and say hello.
And we can go over to Air One or
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Pat, how is everything? How's the body holding up? The body's good.
Now we're referring to the crash.
Yes.
The body is, we can get into that. The body is good, considering, I don't know if you guys saw it or heard about it.
I heard about it.
I got to say, it's probably one of the heaviest collisions over at the Combi contest.
Yeah.
Or the Combi pool. And it was unfortunate that me and Lincoln Ueda collided. Full impact, the bottom of the transition. And I've seen some really heavy crashes in there. Yeah. Lance and Cab have hit, and Cookie Head and Josh Stafford have crashed. But I think just the way we hit was so solid and at maximum speed. He goes so fast.
He got the worst of it though. He broke some ribs. He was laid out.
Yeah. He had a concussion. Yeah. We were both on the floor for a long time, and I was asking about him, like, how's Lincoln? And they're saying he's still out, and I never got KO'd, luckily. But I had so much pain, and I, because I took it in the upper body, and so I just could not breathe at all.
What exactly happened? Because by the way, the Combi, it was amazing. I went to a lot of the pre-sessions. They had little sessions before the actual Combi contest that they just had, which was incredible because you had the young, you had the mid, you had the old, like all combined, and we're having sessions, and it looked like you guys. Everybody was connected, right? Like somebody would drop in and you would know kind of what was going on. And so what exactly happened? Why didn't you guys see each other? And how did you guys collide?
That is such a great question. And I will say this, is that, they're like what you see happening is like there, it seems like it's almost choreographed, and everyone has this like kind of like other sense of what the other skaters are doing. And so if I have just fallen off my board and I see Tom dropping in, Tom Shars, let's say, I kind of know, like, okay, he's all of a sudden going down the hip into the round, so I know what he's going to do 3 things, and so I better stand over here or get
you can almost stand near the what's it like, the island, right? You can almost stand over there and wait for them to go
island, or in the middle, or off to the right, because I kind of know his tricks, right? This one was a little different because it was kind of compressed, the practices, and
there's a lot of people.
There was a lot of newbies that had never really skated there before, and so there was kind of an urgency for everyone to get in the ball. But the reason why Lincoln and I crashed is because we're not totally used to people dropping in the deep end, right? And everyone drops into the shallow.
The little. It's the shallow, but it's super small. It's like a little kind of bump. It's like a love seat almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Combi's been around for 45 years, and we've been skating it that long, and that's kind of the way it's always been. And the way you go in, you drop in, and usually you'll hit one bowl and you kind of slingshot into the other and do a big air and start your run.
Sure.
And that's kind of what we were both doing. the thing is that he was dropping in the square, I was dropping in the shallow, and we had our backs to each other. And so we dropped in at exactly the same time.
Wait, say that again. You dropped in the square?
Sorry, in the shallow one.
Oh, you dropped in on the shallow.
Yeah.
He dropped in
the square. Now, he was going to the far corner, and I was going to the other corner in the shallow.
And you said that's not normal. It's not really, you're not really looking for somebody dropping in
the deep end of anywhere. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's especially hard because Lincoln is such a ninja. He is so quiet and so fast. Like a couple times when I was just like walking through practice, I would just see him drop in out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, "Whoa! Like, what was that? You know? It's like a phantom, you know?" And and he's just a really, everyone loves Lincoln. He's quiet, and just a very calm person. And so so that's what happened. We had this like small practice. Mm-hmm. We were all just warming up. And so we had our backs to each other. He dropped in one way, I dropped in the other. He was swinging around to go do an air up the hip. I was swinging around to go into the square to hit that far corner to come back into the round.
Gotcha.
And we were at max speed. And and as I was coming down, like Lonnie Hiramoto was there, and he was like, dude, I was screaming to try to like get you guys to stop. But the music had just turned on. So, it was just, we couldn't hear anything.
Sure.
And so I was going down. I came out of one corner pumping. I was down one waterfall pumping. And then I got to the second waterfall, it was way too late. And I just see this blur of Lincoln, and we just got like a tractor beam. We just got pulled into each other and just did this full super heavy collision.
Yeah.
It was at the bottom of the bowl?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like full speed from both angles going right.
Yeah.
He got knocked out. He broke some rib. The funny part, and not funny, but the ironic part about that is, when was it on a Saturday or Sunday, the combi?
Saturday.
It was on a Saturday. Lincoln was supposed to come in and be a guest on our show on Monday. We had planned it out, and then I heard about it. Roger was there. He was like, dude, Lincoln just got smoked. He got brought out on a stretcher. I was like, oh my God. I wasn't like bummed that he couldn't come on the show, but I was like, dude, I hope I immediately like hit him up. Are you okay, dude? Like, how's it going? Don't worry about anything. I just heal up, Yeah.
And, we actually talked a day or two later, and then, and we have so much respect for each other and just so much concern about one another. That and he said that he mentioned the show.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
And he says, I'm going to be in Venice, and you and I have to hang out.
Okay.
And we were going to get together and hang out. But,
perfect.
But I guess he's still not up.
Hasn't done it yet. And which is, I just want him to be good. Yeah. Concussions are gnarly. First of all, you need like a lot of time to heal from that. But plus the ribs. Probably just being moving around is
and then what I found out over a few days is that he as he got knocked out, and I heard different stories. He was knocked out for a couple minutes to maybe like 10 or 12 minutes, right? And then when I talked to him, he said that he had to go to the ER twice. And then he couldn't lift because he's had 2 shoulder surgeries.
Okay.
So he couldn't lift his shoulders over his head. Oh. And he had broken some ribs, and he had a concussion. So, but he was, like, we were talking, I was talking to Lincoln, he was really coherent, and he sounded, like really uplifted. So, but, how you feel is different too.
Well, that's the thing. I'm just glad both of you are okay. And you actually skated in the contest, right? You didn't. You were like you seemed beat up when I saw you. You were like, dude, I'm just fucking just collided with Lincoln, and
I literally felt like I got run over by a truck.
Yeah.
And it was, and I'm like replaying things and in my head of like that day. Mm-hmm. And like one of the things that was always impressed in me was that I remember skating a bowl in Bondi, and this guy got knocked out, and I think his name was Nick, and he just like got up real quick, after he got knocked out, and just and like wiped off all the blood and got out of the bowl, and then also seeing what happened with Jake Brown, right?
God, yeah.
as crazy as that was, falling 40 feet out of the sky, and then being on the ground, his shoes, his teeth, everything come out, and you're like, and then he walks off. And that was impressed with me, like, dude, like he kind of changed the whole energy of this moment.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of, I don't know, somehow I had that in my mind, like, this is so ugly right now. As I was down there and I was in so much pain, I was like, Pat, just get up, walk out of this bowl right now, you know, and let's just turn this off to some degree. You know, let's change the momentum here. And I did. I just got up, I got my board.
Right.
I resisted any help. I was just kind of like in my mind, and I somehow pulled myself out of that bowl and just went back to the EMTs, that back room back there, and they started working on me.
Okay. Yeah, you're right, though. Something like that can change the whole dynamic of a contest. And that was the Combi's last kind of hurrah. It was this big thing, and Van Dorn's there barbecuing, and it was just but I got there after that, and the vibe was still good. I mean, they had announced that Lincoln was okay, and he was in the hospital, broke a couple ribs and everything. So I feel like everybody was still, the stoke was still there, you know, and you guys were okay. And like I said, you skated, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. You know what, though? But I didn't think I was going to skate. And when something big like that happens, you know, and we're skaters. You guys have all been through these mega slams and don't realize there's that much pain in your body. You know?
Next day.
The adrenaline kicks in and you're like, oh, all right, fine.
Like, what did I sign up for?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know I could ever hurt this bad.
Right.
You know, those kind of moments. And, but I went and walked around. You know, my girlfriend got there, and, you know, and she was kind of helping me out. And then I said, all right, I'm going to go walk around. As you know, like it's like a big outlet mall there.
Yeah.
So, and then I come back into the event, and they still hadn't let all the people in, and there was this like area where all the chairs and tables were, and there was just one person sitting there, and that was Kiko, right? And I'm walking by, and he goes, "Ngoho, how are you?" I'm like, dude, I'm thrashed, bro. He goes, but I don't have any broken bones, and I didn't get a concussion. And he goes, here, sit down. And he goes, and he looks me like in the eye, and like just full like HD, and he's like, pretend nothing happened. Like that serious.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. And then he's like, you can skate. You're going to skate today. like, and I've known Kiko since he was 9, you know? So,
Okay.
you know, so like all of a sudden, like here's this like really determined person, you know, right there in my living room. And I'm like, okay, all right. You know, I'm really starting to feel it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it, Kiko. Thank you. And we hug it out. And he was like, I just carried that with me all day. And then, you know, I saw Christian, and he was just making sure I was okay, and gave me blessings. And then the real thing that caught me off guard was I was walking through the event, and I had never met him before, but I just like, you know, it's so weird, like you're kind of like in someone's presence, but then you just see each other. And it was Ruff Ueda. And and of course I know who he is, and he's this amazing prodigy of a skateboarder. And then I'm like, Rafa? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, Pat? And he's like, you know, so we instantly knew, like, I'm like, dude, how's your dad? And he's like, oh my God, dude, you know, I'm so sorry. And we were both just apologetic and concerned. I mean, he's such a beautiful human, you know, like, he was so caring, and we were both just, you know, just emotional about everything. Yeah. And then he says to me, it's like, I'm going, dude, I'm just so sorry that this happened. And he goes, you know what? My dad has been there so many times and picked me up off the concrete when I've been knocked out that I was glad that I was there to help him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it really was like, oh my God, Rafa, thank you so much. And then, we just ran into other people.
Yeah.
Another person too that I kind of didn't really know is Beaver Fleming.
Oh yeah, Beaver. He's a good dude.
Yeah. He's an awesome dude, and I've seen him in like Australia, the Do Tour, and like, you know, he just has his own brand of tricks. But he just comes up to me. He's like, dude, are you okay? What's going on? And And he says, we were talking, my girl was there, and he's like, can I pray for you? I'm like, yes. So we all just hug it out, and he just just gives me these words that are like so crystal clear and pure, and you just feel them in your heart, and all these things started adding up to like, all right, dude, you just got to get out there now,
They're totally, dude.
Like, after, and then, right before our runs, they played the voice of the message of Jeff.
Oh,
right, because it was the
Jeff
dedication.
Grosso,
Jeff Grosso and Lance, and then Oliver Grosso skated.
That was
incredible.
That's awesome.
I almost cried. I was like, "Oh my god,
I know,
this is crazy,
wasn't that?
Yeah, it was
that
like
was emotional.
It was.
Yeah,
it was. It was a great event, and the thing that I was laughing at, or it is kind of like funny because even in the practices, it was the month before, they would have those practices, and I would see you guys there. I just had to go check the vibes out because this is like the last time. I'd never been there before, but here you have like legends, like the masters, the legends. You have these like dudes that are like 60-something years old, like ripping the bowl. And then they bail, and then they can barely walk out of there. They're like trying to like get out, and they're walking around like they can barely. But then they get on, and they're flowing, dude.
Yeah.
They're backside airs, backside grinds, and you're like, this is crazy. Like imagine a bunch of 60-plus-year-old dudes skating a 4-foot ledge. Like I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't know. I always trip out that the older you get, if you skate transition, you can actually skate it.
It was so beautiful. These guys are just ripping.
What I'll say to that is I think that was a generation that came along and was responsible for so much innovation in skateboarding. And through the years, they continued to stay relevant and to be part of skating. And I think this is just another chapter of saying, look, we're going to show the world that skating can still continue.
Oh yeah,
right,
for sure.
Right there we're looking at Omar.
Yep.
Who's 50.
Yep.
And just did this fakey to revert roll in.
There were some guys there like Ben Schroeder. Is that it? He does the walk thing. Is he the guy? He does the jumps off the board, walks, and then jumps back on when the board's dropped.
I don't know the name of it, but there's this sort of Ghost Rider thing that he jumps on. Yeah.
But still, like, you're watching these guys, and you're like, dude, this is gnarly. Like, they're floating backside airs, and then they can, like, barely get out of the bowl. It's like...
Yeah. Well, Ben has his own style as well.
Oh, dude.
Big time.
That is pretty amazing that he's able to... there was a time where Ben was like the best skater in the world, and he just was like he just showed so much innovation, so many new tricks, and it was like a whole different style of skating. But even to this day, he doesn't let up, and he still skates with that much determination and commitment.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there was something magical about watching those guys, and I joke about it like they can't walk that, but it's just something like, you're just like, wow, it's kind of inspiring, like I don't skate transition, I don't skate vert, but man, if only any of us could skate at 60 plus years old, the way,
some of these dudes.
Is there,
it's nuts, man.
Is there like another time? Like, it seems like this might be the one special time that you guys all get together, like a reunion almost, right? Like, is there any other event that does something like this?
Unfortunately, I think this was kind of the last one.
Yeah.
Before the whole COVID thing, there was a lot of events like the Dew Tour, the Bondi Bolorama in Australia, and then there was, of course, this, and then COVID hit, and then the Olympics hit, and then it just seemed like the money and the interest kind of waned, and it went in all these different directions. So that's why I think this one was so important,
right?
Because everyone kind of felt like this might be it,
and you could feel it there. You could feel the vibe. Everybody was like really stoked. Rune Glifberg was killing that switch flip. Was
wow,
oh, gosh,
man,
yeah,
he did that properly.
Yeah, dude.
So
he won the
The Legends.
Yeah,
No,
the
sorry, Masters.
Was it the Masters? Yeah.
We used to be the Masters, and then they
Now you-
everything switched.
You
So
gotta
we're thoroughly confused.
I thought it was rad too that Christian won the was it the Legends now?
Legends, yeah.
He won
Yeah.
the Legends because he had never won there
No,
before.
no,
so he got
no.
his little trophy.
Yeah.
It was a great vibe, man. I really, really enjoyed it. And just kind of like go back because like you were born and raised here in LA.
Yeah.
And you kind of grew up in the mecca of the whole skateboarding coming up and, you know, from clay wheels to urethane to the skate parks down here, Marina. And like, how did you even like get interested in skating at a young age? Like 10, you said you started skating about?
Yeah. I think it was a little bit different back then. You know, we didn't have a lot of sports and, sure there was like Little League and stuff, but for our little group, skateboarding came along and it was kind of it. But we were just like these little gangs of kids that were just skating around and through apartment complexes and stuff. I think the big change for me was once, I started hanging out with a little bit older guys that were surfers and the skating, you can see that, okay, there was a definitive like line of like, okay, tricks are really what it's about and you got to start doing these things and skating these places and going to these parks. And so that was really interesting to me. And I started doing it. And there was enough parks. Like there was one in Oxnard, there was one in Lakewood, there was one in Montebello. So we were chasing these parks, and there was backyard pools in the area. Mm-hmm. And then I think a real defining point for me was like Skateboarder Magazine started doing articles on Dogtown. And there was something really strong in there. Like I could see like this whole sort of like movement that was happening and the way that these guys were expressing themselves, the way they were so different than anything else I had seen. The photos, what Craig Stesick was writing about, what he was photographing, the art, of Wes Humpson and what Jeff Ho was doing. It was such this big sort of art movement.
And it was right here in your backyard.
Yeah, right. And then before you know it, I was skating with these guys at Marina and Stacy and Jim Muir and of course Jay and Tony and Shogo and many more. There was other guys too that aren't part of like the Dogtown, but it was a really rich group that kind of was like, okay, I'm all about this.
Right. And you had mentioned the backyard pool thing. And before the show, we were kind of talking about the airport. And I thought that was a really interesting story because a lot of people don't talk about that really. You hear stories about, we're flying over and they're looking for backyard pools and stuff like that, Salba. But you never really heard about the airport. They closed up down a bunch of houses. They bought them up, and then there was like you said, there was like a bunch of backyard pools that were just vacant. You guys would go in there and
so I
have
went
free
to
reign.
Westchester High. It's the same school that Scott Oster and Aaron Murray went to as well, and so that was like a surfer school, and at the same time Westchester is the same city that LAX is in.
Sure.
And so they were buying out or just moving out these people. And so there was all these vacant homes. And at that time, there was just a whole windfall of empty pools that we would go to and skate and learn and just skate with all these, and it's funny, it's like you're like these little kids, but the people that were mostly skating were like these older surfer guys, no shirt and buffed out. And
Long hair.
Yeah. You're like, whoa, like, is it okay if we come back here? Sort of thing. And we were like these little kids.
Okay.
And we were all stoked on it, and they were cool to us. And so, and that was, how we started. And we were just skating everywhere. We would find ramps and pools and schools, and it was like a paradise for
Were
us.
you going there after school? Would you bring your board to school and then just skate around afterwards? Or would you get driven there on the weekends? Like, how was this working?
I can't remember, but I think a lot of it was after school, and we didn't have cars, so we were taking the bus.
Yeah, okay.
And every once in a while we would get a ride, but it was, there was no cell phones, there was no GPS, and, you would just show up at these places and hope that, when you looked over and there's a big session that, you weren't going to deal with any sort of riffraff or anything.
Sure.
What was about when you were out skating back then? Was there cops or people kicking you out back then?
I would say the short answer is no.
Like everything was pretty free out back then, right? Yeah.
For the most part, I remember a couple times where the cops came, but it was just more like, you dumb kids, get out of here. Right?
Like they kind of don't even know what you're doing almost. You're like, what are you guys doing?
It was so alien to them. Like, what are you doing in this pool? And, and we're, in West LA, there just wasn't that much crime relative, I guess. And so it was, like, dude, I don't want to fill out a report. Just keep moving. And, and we weren't like kids that were going to, tell a cop off or anything. It's like, yes, sir, we're out of here.
Yeah.
How old were you at this point when you're going all around? You said you were in middle school or high school?
I was in elementary school. I remember having the urethane wheels, and we were looking for pools. Like, that was 6th grade. So what are you, like 11?
In 6th grade, maybe?
Yeah, around then. Yep.
Yeah.
What kind of board are you riding?
Whatever we could. We were making boards in wood shop, and
that's what we just had Olson and Salva on. They said they were making boards
because what was on offer, like and we would go to we would buy our stuff from bike shops and surf shops. They didn't even have skateboard shops back then,
right?
So and we'd go to the hardware store for the grip tape.
So crazy.
Like actually buying sandpaper?
Yeah, it's not grip tape, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they had for the stairs.
Oh, yes.
That tape. And that was the coolest thing ever. Like, wow, okay. I got grip tape.
Before it was grip tape.
Yeah, and we didn't even have the aircraft nuts and bolts, with the little plastic thing on there. So we just have these bolts that you would just put on, and they would get loose in 4 runs. So you have to carry a wrench with you, and it was just a crescent wrench, and man, it was different times.
So they were long bolts too. It wasn't
oh my
short
gosh,
ones,
yeah.
So you would have to. So you were making your boards in wood shop and stuff like that. Because even Olson was saying there was dudes that would make boards and then sell them.
Yeah, for some reason the boards that we wanted, we had to make.
Okay. And you would copy them from what, existing boards, or would you just kind of freestyle a shape? How was this? And would you try to make a kicktail at all, or was this before? Oh,
yes,
yeah, okay.
Yes, we would take a block and then build it up.
Yeah.
So.
Huh. So interesting, man. You need some water?
Yeah, I was just gonna clear my throat.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's so funny, dude. Because I'll wait for you done. So in wood shop, you're making a board, and like you said, because here's a photo of older boards right here. They're all kind of different. They're all, but then they did start making production boards, right?
Well, historically though, one of the things that was happening along with urethane wheels was that there was a transition from solid oak boards to the the rock hard pine boards.
Okay.
Right? The plywood boards. And that was a huge difference or a huge change. And then they were also, shortly thereafter, they were able to make concaves and kicktails. And that was a big, big change for everybody.
They were saying, Olson, and because we're just so fresh, we just had them on the other day, but they were saying even I think it was the Logan Erskine they were talking about, would go straight down on the nose and it would just blow up. It would just shatter because of the type of wood, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, it was usually oak.
Yeah. So when you're in school and you're doing going in the pools and everything, are you now are you following skateboarding now? Are you magazines and are you in it?
As a pool skater?
Yeah, just kind of knowing what's going on, or you're just seeing what's going on right around you.
There's a couple skaters I follow
Okay.
and see what's going on. And then, we're always talking amongst each other, talking to Lance and Omar and Christian.
Oh, so all these guys were already around. I mean,
back
your scene.
then.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, so going back then,
Yeah.
we were all in a bubble. We had no idea what was going on.
Nothing.
Right? And that went on for a long time. Like even when we were older and we were like entering contests, we didn't know what was going to come down the pipe. Like, like we were like in the Gold Cup, right? And so every 3 months we'd see each other in another contest. And, so all of a sudden Neil Blender's bringing in like 5 different new tricks that you didn't see at the last contest.
Right. Right.
So, and then you're just like, whoa, I better, get my stuff together because I don't know what's coming down the next one,
Who was somebody that you like saw down here, like skating like Marina Park or something like that? That was like, you're just like, whoa, that next level, like this person is just.
Yeah, Marina was great because it was, and we talked about this earlier, like how like there was like a rotation historically of like which park was the desired park that everyone would go to with all the photographers and all the top pros. And, it was Del Mar, then Lakewood and Upland. And then at one point, Marina had its moment. And so we, and me and Hosoi were like young kids at the time. And we were there every day. And Christian's father used to work there. And and we saw every pro of consequence come through there and skate. And then there was big contests like the Dog Bowl Pro, which was my first pro contest. And then there was the Gold Cup. And look at
This
that.
is the Marina.
Wow. Yeah.
This is the Marina Park,
Yeah.
which is hard to imagine. Sorry to interrupt really quick, but it was in the median, right, of what is now the 90 freeway.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where it's like literally nothing, or there isn't like a flower shop there. Or
Yeah, there's a
something?
flower shop and there's a homeless encampment there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn, I don't
And
remember.
I will say this
Go ahead.
about this. I was actually in this as well, but I was always a fan of Steve Olson. But when I saw him win this contest against the top dudes,
Yeah.
I was like completely blown away. The way he could carve, the way he can generate speed. See, and everyone would start on that big ramp.
Yeah.
Steve would start off to the side. And he looked like he wasn't even pushing.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
But he make it all up in the turns. Like there was like guy like Charlie Ranson that came from Badlands who was like the dude, and he would start from the top and he'd just have all this speed. And Olson would smoke him every time.
Really?
Yeah.
And they put that ramp there for the contest.
Yeah. And Steve said, I don't know what, he's got some special power. He's like, I'm starting off on the side. And it looked like he wasn't even really pushing hard.
Really?
Yeah.
It
Like,
would it be judged off of like who could go around it fastest, or
it was all time.
it was all time?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it had like all the special timers. Everything was digital, and there was a scoreboard. So we were sitting there watching, and then it's like Olson would just come through with he had a crazy flyaway helmet, and he had like these Molly skate pants on, and he just looked so cool. And then he would always get the fastest time. Like it's like he almost knew he was going to win.
It's almost slalom, almost in a
Kinda.
way, where you
Yeah.
like you're pumping and
It's its own little thing, bank slalom, and so you have guys like this,
yeah.
that are like really trying hard, and it's like, oh wow, he's going to get a great time. And then you had someone like Olson who looked like they were just kind of like walking through the park, and then fastest time of the day.
So this is 1980 ASPO
Yes.
contest, and so it looked like to me, was this the whole Marina Park right here, or is this because it looks just
This is
kinda,
the length of the Marina Park.
okay,
Right. So
it looks just like
so at the
kind of a-
bottom where this big bowl turnaround is,
yeah, like right here,
yeah, that was like near the entrance.
okay,
Right. And if you were to jump over that, you would be like where the pro shop is and all that.
oh, so they had a pro shop and
Yeah.
everything.
it was
okay.
gated off on the sides or everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's like, you can actually see the fence there. That was, if you go just on the other side of that fence is the Marina Freeway.
It's so crazy to
Yeah.
think, dude.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to think that even back then, when skateboarding kind of took the dive, we talked about it like 80, 81-ish, right? It kind of, and then all the parks closed. It's crazy how much money they probably invested into all these parks everywhere. And then they just like latered them. You know, like that park must have cost a pretty penny. It's a lot of concrete, and then just okay, later we'll just demolish it.
At that time,
Yeah.
for sure.
That was an interesting project, I guess, because that came from Dennis Ogden. And his family were the Ogdens,
Okay.
which maybe know as the Ogden Cleaners.
Oh, wait, down there on Washington?
Yes.
I go there all the time.
Okay.
No way.
But there's
What are you cleaning over there? Suits?
Yeah, I have shirts I have to get done.
but I mean, that's just the beginning of their empire.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we were going to a skate contest in San Diego, and so he said, well, we'll stay at my parents' house. And they had an avocado farm. And we got there at night, and we woke up the next morning, and as far as you can see in every single direction were avocados, groves. Right? So they were like pretty well off.
Okay.
And they were going to give their son something that he was interested in.
A skate park.
Yes.
Wow.
Must be nice. But they gave everybody the skate park. Did you have to pay to get in, or was it free?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It was a
Okay.
paid
At first.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I was sponsored, so my team took care of my skating.
I was going to
Your
say,
membership.
yeah, where I don't remember what year they were talking about that, but when the contest circuit started, they had every skate park had a team. This was like for the AMs, right? They had a team. Were you a part of that, or was that before?
So I don't know if we're talking about Castle.
I don't know. Was it Castle? Like everybody had their teams, like the Del Mar team, and then they go to each park and they battle. And then this was like before the pro circuit.
Yeah. Well, when I was an AM, Dennis Ogden had this Marina skate van, and he was part of Castle, which is the
Okay.
California Skate League, and it was organized by all these other skate parks that he was a part of, and he wanted to contribute. And so he would like say, hey, Pat, I'm going to all these contests. If you want to jump in the van, you're more than welcome. And that's how I got to get used to all these contests, get to skate, all these different parks, and then skate all these different terrains. And
So that was Castle.
I believe so.
I believe so. Okay.
Yeah.
God, Castle's been around they're still around, right?
Oh,
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
That's
seen
amazing.
that for a long. Castle.
Yeah.
Really?
Really? You should enter one, Kelly.
I don't know. I've never heard of Castle in a really long time.
I haven't
dude.
either, but again, we're not paying attention.
Well, I judge all of the AM contests, so
You should know.
that's why I don't think it's there.
There it is.
But
Really?
No,
think
it's
so.
there. That was Sonia Catalana, who passed away
Yeah, she
recently.
passed away recently.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And
Okay.
so she was like, I don't know if she was managing it or owned it.
She did a lot.
But
that's for
I
sure.
recently looked online because I teach skating. And so I looked online to see if they were still around, and they're doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I don't think they have their schedule yet, but
When you, I want to just go back really quick because I had a thought. When you were watching Steve Olson skate around in that night in that contest, how old were you at that point? Like, were you
like 13.
13?
Yeah.
I feel like you have style, right? You have. Did you get your style from like watching these guys, and you're like, oh, I need to skate like this, or were you just skating the way that you normally skate, or were you like thinking about style? Because you do have this like really cool, just calm, collective, effortless
Style
style.
is not fake, dude. This guy is
No, but I'm not saying it's fake though. I'm not
No,
saying-
you can't.
But no, I'm not saying it's fake though. It's like when you see skateboarders, you could try to emulate them, and it becomes like growing up for me. Like I tried to emulate different skaters that I was like a fan of, and it's not saying it's fake at all, but more of like inspired, I guess.
Totally inspired.
Yeah.
And I would have to say that I think a lot of things that I was looking at the time was Steve Olson, Steve Alba, Brad Bowman, surfing, Greg Weaver. But yeah, it's an interesting like thing. Like how does it
Develop,
manifest
right? Yeah.
itself? And I don't know. I mean, I think there's like an osmosis where you watch and you're around people, and it starts to come in, and your body filters it out. Like, okay, I like this and I don't like that. But it's not something I was conscious of.
Okay.
Like and Ray Rodriguez, you're partner, what's his name, Roger?
Oh, Raj, yeah.
He had the shirt with that bone. That was for him. The Ray Rodriguez. That was his graphic on the back of his on his board.
Okay.
Anyways, he had like some of the best style I had ever seen, and so, and I wouldn't know how to emulate that, other than I just gave it a thumbs up, and I was like, wow, that's what you got to strive for, and somehow your body figures it out.
Yeah. Interesting.
I always tripped at like how surfing at the beginning was such a huge inspiration for skateboarding. And you could see it back then in these videos. You could see the inspiration coming from surfing. Just by the way you're carving on certain, like back then on those, like the Marina Park, you could tell there's a little more surfer vibe.
Well, even before that, it was like the Kenter banks and the Paul Revere banks and stuff like that, where they're just going up and catching the wave almost, you know?
Yeah.
We had this place in the valley called Sadlands, and it was just basically big banks and stuff. So it was like, it was
Did you
like
grow up
the surf vibes?
Sorry, did you grow up surfing?
I did. Yeah. I skated first, then I surfed. But surfing was a huge influence on skating. And I think it's what got those guys into the bowls or into the pools. One of the first skaters to skate a pool is Herbie Fletcher. Mm-hmm. And if you talk to him, he says he has a photo from 1964 skating a pool.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's Grayson's grandfather.
Grayson Fletcher, yeah.
That's
Who's
amazing.
a madman. He's the crowd favorite. He is so fun to watch because every time he drops in, something's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Something. Even his bails are like spectacular.
He is kind of superhuman.
Yeah.
Like he's so spontaneous, and then the tricks that he does, and you're like how do you get out of that trick, and how do you bail, and you're just running down walls backwards, and you're so. Even his bails are so, and then he doesn't wear knee pads. So
he doesn't wear any pads. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know, and it's like everything's so unorthodox that you could never recreate that if you wanted to.
No.
And his ollie is so superhuman that like a street ollie, it's pretty darn good. But then when he brings it into the bowl and the way he lifts it up and the way his leg tweaks, his back leg and his front leg, like he just decides, well, I'm just going to take my foot off the board or do whatever that he wants. It's another level.
And then the kickflip from the island into the round bowl was like, whoa, what a way to close that out.
That was amazing. I was right there, and I was just watching him. You get to the point like, dude, is he going to make it?
Is he going to make it? Yeah, because one more try.
How many times did you do it?
11?
I was going to say 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was like, so he was going off this big hip or ledge finger, but then he had to like turn his board a little bit to land on the tranny so he could ride out.
Yep.
So it was really technical what he was trying to do.
It was incredible. He's just that guy though. Like I said, every time he takes a run, you're just like, I'm gonna get the camera out because something's gonna happen.
He seems like he does it at every contest.
It's
something special.
Everybody loves it too. It's like he's a fan. He's your favorite skater's favorite skater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
he's a
amazing.
Crowd pleaser for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you saw that what he did at Oregon.
This is the.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh
look
my
at that bail.
God, dude!
Yeah, that leg was pretty much
And
That's like jumping off a 14 stair into a train.
well, that's
into
what I'm
a
saying.
bank.
The video doesn't even do it. The way that thing is massive.
Wow.
What is it, equivalent to like what, 15 stairs?
Maybe like Kelly said, 14, 15.
14.
I get
It
it's
looks
huge.
something like that. Yeah.
It's huge.
Oh my gosh.
I was wondering, do a lot of these kids that are coming up now, do you see the respect did they know who became before them?
I think it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And it's kind of great. There's the skaters that just go off and do their own thing, and there's a lot of skaters that are really interested in the history, the tricks. Some of them are riding like older boards, no noses, no concave, and I think, man, that's awesome. They're not trying to like be on that leading edge. They're just trying to do something that seems right to them.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, they found a niche for themselves, and taking that lane and running with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I couldn't ride that board, even though I used to like a long time ago, but I couldn't ride it today. And they're doing the most amazing. Is it Wisnowski?
Winkowski.
Eric
Winkowski.
Winkowski,
So
yeah.
sick.
Christopher Hyatt as well.
Yeah.
For Powell. But
And you're just
yeah,
like,
he's,
where do these people
this
come
is him,
from?
right? This is Eric Winkowski.
Winkowski. Okay.
Yeah, he's incredible. We just had him on the show
He's so
a
sick,
couple months ago.
We were just talking about him before you came over here. Me and Jerron and JC were like, imagine if Winkowski were watching Savannah Slamma 3, if you put Winkowski back in that era, like if he just popped in, like would this guy completely just blow your minds?
For sure. I mean, yeah, at any era.
Yeah.
Right? And is this all him?
Yeah.
Wow. So he's revisiting old spots and making new spots. Look at that.
Billy Ruff.
Gosh. What's that called? A ho-ho plant,
Yeah,
right?
the ho-ho. I remember Billy Ruff
that.
doing that back in the day.
Yeah, he's incredible, man.
That's an amazing name, and a guy I used to skate with, Billy Ruff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Legend.
we did that Gold Cup series with all the top amateurs from that photo that I was showing.
JC's got it.
Yeah. And Billy Ruff is actually in that photo.
Is it the photo of everybody seated down?
Yeah.
Let's see if you can find that, JC.
Chris
on the
Miller's
Discord.
there, and Tony Hawk is in that photo.
Wow.
Looks like you
Real
guys are
tiny
getting-
sliver of Christian, and
Oh, here it is. Yeah. This is it. Let's see if we can get a zoom in.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Look at
Right there.
this.
Looks
Yeah.
like you guys are getting lectured.
yes, exactly. So that's Hawk in the yellow helmet, that's just left of Don Hoffman.
Right here.
Yes. And
What?
then
So crazy.
I think that's Chris Miller on just to the right of Don Hoffman.
In the red
In the
helmet?
red, yeah.
Wow.
Jim Gray is back there. I'm all the way to the left
That's
in
you
that
right
flyaway. Yeah, so that's in San Diego at a skate park called Oasis.
What's going on here? They're just like,
Riders meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
About to hit the contest.
Yeah.
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 Before it starts.
That's insane.
Who won that contest?
I know who won the pro, which was Mickey Alba. Right? Because I remember he won the overall of the Hester series, and then he wins the first contest of the new series. If I were to guess, it was probably Billy Ruff, and which is how we got onto this topic, because he won the overall,
Okay.
and he was, and you had mentioned him, Jerron. He was totally amazing.
He was so sick.
Yeah.
I remember definitely he was standing out like when I started skating and just seeing, these contests and just being mesmerized by him specifically. But yeah. And his name stood out for sure.
Yeah, he was like Tony Hawk before Tony Hawk. He just had all the tricks and just could deliver it and was winning contests, and it's pretty amazing.
Who was your first sponsor?
My first sponsor was this team called Functional Design.
Functional Design.
Yeah.
Where were they out of?
They were out of the South Bay.
Okay.
And like a lot of skate brands back then, like Z-Flex and stuff, there were like surfer guys that were tinkering around making skateboards. And so that's what this guy did. He made all the decks in his backyard. This guy, Tom Stanton, who now lives in Oceanside. And so they had this guy by the name of Russell. Can't remember his last name. But he had a pool in Westchester, this egg bowl. And it was kind of famous locally, and we knew where it was.
This is at his house.
Yes.
So is this a bowl
pool.
made for? Oh, it's a pool.
Yeah,
Okay.
backyard pool.
Drain pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no one was building anything back
Okay.
then. So it was a backyard pool, an egg shape, and we had heard about it, and everyone at school talked about it. But it was kind of like the vibe, like all these surfer dudes, and the functional design team was there, and there's like, they're not gonna let you skate.
Okay.
But then we eventually got in, and I'll never forget. Yeah, there we go. That's Moses. So he was the star on that team, and I was like, okay, that guy rips. He is awesome. And I remember one day we were all there skating, and there was a bunch of like younger kids, including myself. And then some guy comes back and he's like, "You guys got to all get out of here. Everyone got to get out. If you cannot carve tile, you're out of here."
The ramp keeper is coming in.
Yeah,
the pool
exactly.
keeper.
Yeah, full on. Like everyone's got it, and so you got one chance to get tile. Seriously, this went down.
And this is the owner.
This was the owner of one of the dudes who was kind of gatekeeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I had never hit tile until that moment. And I just carved and I went as high as I could and I got tile. And then, I had a buddy, he had to like wait outside or he had to, he was close. So it wasn't like a big thing, but eventually I got on that team.
You got, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that led to a lot of other things. And I had my first signature board with them.
Gotcha.
And, they got me into the park. We're paying my membership.
Mm-hmm.
Them live tryouts to get on.
I know.
Yeah.
Like on the spot, like what can you do, buddy? But it worked out well, and I progressed really fast. And before you know it, I was. They were really happy.
What happened with that company? Did they go out of business, or did you just leave? Because you moved on to other companies, right? You were.
Well, yeah, there was a big transition in my life. There was like a lot of teams interested in me at that time. I was like starting to win contests. I started entering pro contests. Like Sims was interested, and Z was interested, and even Stacy came along and asked me to join Bones Brigade, and I said no.
Wow.
He at a contest has happened,
At
or
Marina. I was skating with Stacy all the time at Marina.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
why did you say no?
I just felt it wasn't a right fit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, even though Tony wasn't on the team yet. Lance wasn't on the team.
What year is this, by the way?
All right, so
what
this is
year is
early
this?
on. This is early on.
79, possibly 80.
Okay.
Right. And so he was like, and he sits me down. It was real serious. It was like right, that where we were watching that slalom.
Yeah.
It was up there, and there was no slalom race going on, but it was like against this fence. And he brought me aside, and he goes, Pat, I'm doing this thing, and I want you to be a part of it. And then I said no. And then instantly, Jay Smith, who was on the team, comes over to me. He's like, dude, what are you doing? And I just I didn't really have an answer. And I never really had like mentors or a father, to help me through these things. And I just felt like, okay, I didn't really see it. I didn't really see the connection of like of how that was going to be. Was stoked on Stacy.
Yeah.
And I was stoked on Cab and Ray Bones. But I don't know. I said no. And then the rest is history.
Did he tell you early on? Go ahead.
Yeah. Did he tell you what he wanted to do? Like get some newer guys on the team and work with?
No. And the whole vision, for what it was at the time, it was still really good.
Yeah.
He had Bones Brigade. He was already starting to build that concept out. And, I liked the boards, and I was really stoked on Stacy, and it was such an honor that he had asked me. But, and then as time went on, of course I had regrets when I saw how big it became and like all the names and everything,
Yeah.
But I don't know. You make your decisions, and you
Didn't you call him back up? You're like, hey, dude, hey, what's going on, man?
In the back.
Yeah.
A year later.
Yeah. No, I just kept going with skating, and it would have been totally different because they had money and they had drive, and I was with teams that just didn't have that sort of thing.
Did you see people starting to make a lot of money at that point?
No. And that was another thing, right?
Right.
Like I even then, $1,000 was kind of a lot of money, but I was watching guys win a contest, and they'd only get $1,000, and I was, and I knew all the pros back then, and I would hear the stories of like, them kind of scratching to pay rent.
Yeah.
So I was already thinking like, what am I going to do? And I decided that I was going to go to school and started taking classes, and I ended up over at LMU, and I was still skating, but I graduated with an arts degree.
Okay. And this is when kind of 81, like skateboarding took a big dive. So you kind of went off and said, well, there's obviously not that much money in this. I'm going to go to school and is that kind of what happened?
Well, so skating skate parks died.
Yeah.
And that was a really big thing for a lot of us. And then it started going more half pipes.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't like half pipes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't backyard have the
I did a little bit,
Okay.
and because I still love skating, and that was the only thing that was there. And yeah, there's tons of photos of me on half pipes, and I did contests, and I
Yeah.
was traveling around the world doing contests, but I didn't really like it as much as I liked bowls, and so I kind of resisted it. And then I was, at that same, was at that age, and we were talking about it, like you're thinking about like getting out of the house and getting an apartment, and
Right.
you got to pay your gas and insurance and things. So how do you do that? So I figured I better have a plan B here.
Okay.
And go to school, and so I got my degree, and then I was, but I was still skating, and I still loved it. And one of the things that changed was that street skating really popped up.
Right.
Right. And I was like, okay, I kind of like this. And I love the inventiveness of it. I love, there was momentum there, and I was traveling. I was picked up on teams, and I love traveling too, by the way. And that was another big win.
Biggest perk in skateboarding.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
For sure.
Yes.
100%.
Oh my God,
100%.
I'm going to Europe for
Yeah.
free,
Oh, I say it all the time. I probably would have never left the country if it wasn't for skateboarding.
Yeah.
To this day, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, but it was so easy. You got taken care of. You could get put on a flight, and
Here's your itinerary.
yeah, here you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, there'll be somebody there to pick you up.
And not to mention, you get to go skateboarding.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
meet all these different people and accents. And then
Yes.
usually when you're going to these places, you're far better than, everybody, especially back,
Back
Back
then.
then,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
behind.
Well, yeah, they were barely doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it's like, you're like this kind of weird anomaly. Like, whoa, like, how do you learn to do these tricks, So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're getting the videos late, the magazines late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, especially coming from the States.
Sure.
Yeah.
And and skateboarding was changing so fast too back then, right? And so like 1 minute we're in bowls, next minute we're in half pipes, and then we're
Yeah.
doing mini ramps, and then it's street skating. So there was a lag
So true.
for the world. They could never keep up what was going on with the leading edge of skating.
Yeah, yeah.
So true.
And a lot of skaters, I think, couldn't keep up as well because, like, there, it's a famous like street cab. He transitioned pretty well, and there were some people that just couldn't.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And that's one thing that's always impressed me about Hosoi, and it kind of motivated me, was like, wow, like he's so good on everything. And I wanted to do that too. And that's what got me into the street contests and mini ramps and back, we were already skating backyard pools, but to apply yourself and to progress in all these different terrains
Right.
was something that I was always impressed about Christian. He just never held back.
Because we were talking about the Savannah Slamma
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, I think you adapted pretty well.
Yeah, dude.
based,
For
on,
real.
based on that contest alone. I mean, that contest stood out majorly for me back then, and obviously to see you in that was pretty rad.
Yeah, I started having like really good results, and the sponsors were happy, and I was traveling a lot. I had a lot of momentum. I was getting like top 10 or in the finals in almost every contest. And then there was like the innovation part, right? Like in this one here, at some point, I do that little elevator slide,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which to me is like, I wanted to innovate, and I wanted to do lines that were a little different and that kind of separated you from the rest of the other skaters.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this arena type style skateboarding right here. Before Street League, this is what we had.
Yeah.
Well,
So cool.
Pat has already just done one trick, and he's pushed about 8,000
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
It's pretty widespread.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Is this the what you're? Or wait,
No,
you go
that-
back again and
That
do it.
Yeah,
right there was
yeah.
a hurricane, and that's
Yeah.
got like 4 feet of vert. So I was
That
kind of
was
proud
sick.
about that.
There it is. Go on.
Little surf,
Yep.
little transfer.
Yeah, you do it when you go back over.
Yeah.
How much time did you have here? A minute? 2 minutes? I mean,
At
not
least
too much.
45, but
45.
you're right. Maybe maybe 60 seconds.
right.
That's a lot of area to push through.
It
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
man. It
I think
is
this is what you're
so
talking about,
spread
right?
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost they were taking breaks a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could eat lunch and come back.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. So that I was really proud about that, and just coming up with tricks.
Yeah. Look at this. Oh, he's going, no, there's the nose wheelie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had anyone just been doing nose? Had there was always nose manual like that? Was it ever just a regular like nose manual at that point?
Christian did that.
That right there,
And Scott Austin.
what I was doing,
Yeah.
that was a total takeoff of like Stacy Peralta and the early freestyle skaters. But what they cut out and they don't show is I shove it out of that.
Oh,
So I was like trying to like throw a little modernization into it.
Right. Yeah, because Steve was talking about doing the nose, and he said he was trying to get like put something on the nose of his board
to give it more leverage,
so he could like
more
an
space.
extra wheel or something, so he could like
Olson?
yeah,
Really?
Put it down.
yeah. He was like trying to make something so he could like do it, but then later on he was just like, oh, I just did it. Without anything.
Okay.
But he was like trying to make these contraptions
Wow.
to like try to do this nose wheelie
funny.
thing. But you did a lot of like the manuals, right? Weren't you
Yeah.
like the innovator in that kind of, so to speak, or
Yeah, totally. And you know what? I'll say like with that trick, this elevator slide, the manual roll was, I mean, a lot of that came from the skaters that I was watching, right? So I felt that my riding foundation came from guys like Brad Bowman and Steve Olson and Steve Alba. But then there was skaters like Eddie Alguera and Dwayne Peters who were on this cutting edge of like introducing new tricks. And in fact, I remember watching I was at a contest and I watched Dwayne Peters do a run. And I don't know if anyone caught this, but I certainly did, is that he did an entire run of tricks that he had invented. Right? I mean, who can do that, right?
yeah.
You know? And it was so impressive, and it like just stuck in my head that if you want to be a pro, if you want to progress, if you want to continue doing this, then you're going to have to come up with your own things. So the manual roll, I have to like tell like young skaters, like, dude, it's not a wheelie, right? A wheelie is a wheelie. A manual roll is you have a pre-existing trick and you throw the wheelie in between for a little bit more of degree of difficulty and style, right? So if you're going to do an ollie up a, like that right there where we're watching on the stage, you're olling up.
Right.
And then degree of difficulty, I'm going to catch it on my back wheels.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And then I'm going to throw my style in there, and then I'm going to do a trick out. So for me, so the basic concept in the beginning was back then rolling out of a pool and rolling back into a pool frontside was actually kind of hard and a trick in itself.
Sure.
So I said, all right, I'm going to up the game a little bit and I'm going to hold the wheelie and then do it.
Right.
And luckily guys like Cab and Lance remember it, and they were like, yeah, that's your trick. And then I was like, well, if it's my trick, then how did it get the name manual roll?
Manual, yeah.
Like, where did that come from, right? And then so Lance, he just is the Wikipedia of skateboarding. He knows everything. He was like, well, and then because that came from John Lucero, and apparently the story is that John, as you guys might know, was like one of the innovators of street skating. So he apparently got like kicked out of Whittier Skate Park, and he was skating in the parking lot or something. And he was doing all these street tricks, early street tricks in the parking lot. And then one of them was what he called, like he would do something into a manual roll. And they were like, why do you call it a manual roll? Because I manually do it like Pat Ngoho. And that was his answer. I know. I don't. Yeah.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
So it is kind of after you.
Oh, yeah. No, they all give me the credit.
Oh, I thought your middle name was Manuel.
No. I mean, that would be good.
Pat Manuel Ngoho.
Yeah.
Manuel.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the fact that they have like Red Bull has like a Mania.
Mania.
Yeah. And and it's great whenever I watch skating and I see people do that trick.
Well, I based my whole career on manuals, so
really,
yeah, 100%. And
Okay.
it's the hardest shit in skateboarding too. Just to hold them, do a trick into a manual, hold it, maybe do a trick out, switch, nollie, fakie.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Like I've watched some of the Barracks game of skate.
Oh yeah,
Right. And in some of those games of skates, they say no manual rolls.
right.
Why is that?
It's not really a.
It's like it's just not really a part of flip tricks should just be flip tricks.
I see.
Like
Right.
it shouldn't. You're putting another type of
skateboarding. It's like
into a flat ground.
It's
thing.
like the
Okay,
discipline, right? It's if you want to put it that way. It's like you got the flat ground tricks, but then, and that's kind of why if you wanted to, you could do a game of skate with manuals. You could do a game of skate downstairs, but yeah, it's just not something that because you could be playing a flat ground game of skate with somebody who doesn't do manuals.
Okay,
and now you're totally
just
it's
clean them
just,
up.
yeah.
And not that I was offended.
No,
no.
But I actually saw a game of skate between you two guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's way later in our career.
Okay.
A little bit of
way later.
I was impressed. There was some solid tricks in there.
Thank you.
I was
a little bit of
yeah.
a comedy.
Yeah,
Com-
that was more comedy.
routine.
In our prime, that would have been a fun game of skate. I don't think we ever did back then.
Well, in the beginning, you guys start off kind of like whatever, pop shove-its and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting real serious.
Well, we're serious people.
No, I mean, I don't know all the tricks.
Yeah.
And like how, I don't know, you guys were doing some switch crazy stuff.
Do you follow all the new skating to a certain degree, or how do you? I mean, I know you're not even on social media that much. So
I will get online every once in a while, and this is why I kind of don't do it, because then you get sucked in, and then before you know it, like all the suggestions start coming up, and it's it's mesmerizing watching skaters like do these things, and you can just watch it forever. I recently watched some show about the greatest ollies of all time.
Really on YouTube probably
Something I don't know.
Yeah.
But is it Baninsky? Is that his name, Dave?
Dave
Dave
Baczynski?
Baczynski. Yeah.
Who's an awesome guy, by the way.
Kickflip Del Toro.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to this day hasn't been done.
Well, he did it.
I mean, hasn't been redone.
No, because he did it.
Okay, so no one's gonna even try.
No.
To do it.
Didn't Jaws kickflip grab it or something?
He could probably kickflip meloned it naked,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And then-
So maybe a variation of
Yeah.
that, but like when something on that monumental of a scale is done, like nobody's going to go and just do that.
Okay.
Maybe for fun.
Right.
You're
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
put it
I was
in
about to
there.
say, like,
Video part.
homie camp
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
But why would
yeah.
you even do that?
Right. It's like,
That's the. And then there's Costco with Scheckler.
Oh God.
I mean, that's no one has ever stepped to that thing other than him.
Not even
Anyone.
Oh my God.
It's messed up.
Not even a regular straight ollie.
No.
no.
A rollerblader did, right? Didn't the rollerblader?
No,
somebody
a
tried to
dude
jump it.
just jumped it on his feet and broke his ankle. I don't know why, but I don't know why.
He was having a good day that day, and he just thought he could do it.
And I don't know the name of the guy, but no, like what an amazing, and this happened years ago. The jumping from the water tanks.
Oh, Jeremy Ray.
Jeremy Ray.
Jeremy Ray, right.
Yeah. Water tank. That was a monument.
That's
That's monumental.
And,
For
and then
sure.
and you're watching the video, and just the guy running across it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
Dude, like what is that? 20 feet?
Yeah,
That would be
I couldn't
scarier than
imagine
Ollie.
that. But yes, look at this.
Oh yeah, I would.
That is insane, dude.
Let alone jumping it. Jeez.
I mean, that's a guarantee. If you can jump it, then you could ollie it.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
But just to get up
But
there.
what's the distance? What would you guess?
They did a thing. I think Jeremy Ray measured it. JC, can look that up. I think he went there and
It's gotta
measured
be
it.
over 10 feet.
Okay.
Definitely.
He did.
I'm not sure though.
Well, he'll try to pull that up.
It's like two
It's-
cars. No.
No. What do you think?
No, it's not two cars. Car and a half.
And then if you fail, you die.
Well, that's the thing.
You
Yeah.
get really hurt.
And then there's
it's
people
up,
just
it's up 3
filming.
stories high.
Yeah.
4 stories
Yeah,
high.
you might die.
Yeah.
Well, I think the craziest thing is like hitting a rock.
Yes.
Like that is the most. What can go wrong thing is a rock.
Or just hesitating.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
that-
fully like
that
what
too.
happened to the kid that fell off the roof just not that long
Oh,
ago.
that was gnarly.
You seen it? It was
Yeah.
not an elementary, but it was at a school, and he committed, and he overcommitted, and then he fell.
We talked about it on the show.
I can't remember off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
it was,
It was
gnarly.
like
It
past year.
I already got these feelings in my,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's skateboarding's
Okay,
heavy. When you
so
do that.
he says it was in 1997. Jeremy Ray did one of the greatest, a 16-foot ollie from one tower to another tower, 16 feet.
So yeah, it's maybe two
That
cars.
is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
It's
Did they say how high it is? maybe that might be a little bit harder to measure. But
dude.
So so if you go down the hole and you're watching shows like that,
Yeah.
the whole Costco Gap, Jeremy Ray. And,
so you keep up with the gnarly shit.
I mean, who could not watch that show?
Right?
The greatest ollies of all time.
Oh, then there's Jaws. Jaws.
Oh, yeah, he's the master of that.
Leon.
He's a Leon 25.
Yeah, that is insane.
What about like skating? Like, I mean, obviously, probably Tom Shar and like some of these newer kids. Do you keep up with a lot of those guys?
Yeah, totally. I think
'Cause you skate with them too sometimes,
right.
Yeah.
I used to skate with Tom Shar when he was a little kid at the Cove in Santa Monica, and I don't know. To me, I think right now Tom Shar is the greatest skater on the planet.
To watch him do what he does live is another level.
Yeah.
It is. You're just like, he does it with such
super
ease.
sick.
He's almost the Mike Mo of bowl skating. He's like, he looks like Mike Mo, but he also has this like stompiness where he like really puts his board down, but he does it with such finesse too.
Yeah.
That you almost don't realize that he's stomping his tricks, but he's doing it so like gingerly. He's just
Yeah.
like bam, and he's doing 540s just like overhead high, and you're just like, this is gnarly.
It's that perfect balance of like power and finesse. Like you were saying, those really strong, powerful airs, and then he just lands lightly and perfectly.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
But the board is like you hear it, like a good kickflip or a ollie. It just everything lands so clean.
Yeah.
And then his innovation is next level, and he's always coming to that bowl or anywhere with new lines, new ideas. He's always kind of pushing it.
Right.
Wow.
No, he's amazing. Nicest dude too.
Oh yeah,
Great guy.
and his parents, and and then like this whole story with the Olympics, how he barely missed. He missed the first go around because he got like injured his foot, and then so he was out, and then he almost came back, and that one run against Zion.
Oh
at the
yeah,
Tour.
yeah. I do remember that.
But then he made it to Paris. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at that,
Dude. No stall back in, dude.
Look at that. I
Dude,
mean,
what?
Yeah.
Dude.
he's
next level.
gnarly, man.
Wow, front blind on
He's
that.
gnarly, dude. Birdhouse has a gnarly team now.
Oh
they
my
got
gosh.
Grayson now. Grayson Fletcher's on Birdhouse.
Is he on Birdhouse now?
He's on
Yeah.
Birdhouse.
Oh,
yeah.
Tate Carew.
Tate Carew. He's awesome.
I mean, talk about another powerhouse skater.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, and then another skater I love to watch is Luigi Cini from Brazil.
Was he there at the Combi? I
Yeah,
think I remember.
he did.
Yeah.
He's got the power and the tricks, and I think he's kind of like at that level. But he didn't put it together on that Saturday.
Yeah.
But he definitely has that full package that I think we're going to see a lot of that guy.
I love it. I love it. It's like watching vert or like bowl skating in person is it's another level to be there and watch it in person. It's
and when you see them
crazy.
all kind of like feeding off of each
Yeah.
other, Corey's in there and
Corey
Grayson.
Juno. Corey Juno
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Whew.
So amazing. I
To
mean,
the front boards he does.
Dude, he front boarded around goddamn almost all the holes.
yeah.
He's-
And then
he's-
what? Into a front side flip. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Psycho.
Nuts.
Psycho.
That's perfectly caught and finesse and way
Yeah.
up there, and that's just the beginning of his run.
Yeah, exactly. When you were transitioning from like the bowl skating to street skating and all that, and we were talking about Savannah Slamma and all that stuff, were you enjoying that, or I mean, were you always just skating pools as well, or did you like make the full transfer over, or? Like, I'm just trying to, like, what was that time like? Like, I couldn't imagine a time where it's like, okay, well, we're done here, and now you have to go skate this type of skating over here. I couldn't even imagine trying
Yeah.
to switch from my love, even though it's still skateboarding. You know what I mean?
Trying
Like,
to find a new love for this new style
Yeah.
of skating.
I think when you're away from something long enough, the you kind of forget about it and you start to dismiss it. And that's what was happening. But then I was finding a new joy within street skating and and competing as well and touring again. And then, the traveling aspect, like that kind of opened up my whole view of the world. And so that was really good for a long time. And I was going to school and I started to work within the graphic arts world a little bit. But then at 2000, there was an old school skate jam at Skate Lab. And, it's like, it was kind of like nonchalant, like, hey, they're going to do this thing. You might want to come by and check it out. Everybody was there,
This was street. I mean, they don't have a bowl.
They have a bowl. They have a small bowl. It was a really tiny wood bowl.
Where? In the back by the little mini ramp.
Yes. At
Next
Skate
to
Lab.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Skate
okay.
Lab, yeah, Skate Lab.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And so we all showed up and there it was. And believe it or not, that ignited this whole revolution.
After all these years.
Yes. Because,
really?
Yeah, we were there and then that's when internet first started coming along. And so we started exchanging emails and they were like, dude, there's a brand new bowl that opened up in Claremont. And before you know it, I was driving down there. And then shortly thereafter, World Cup started doing a master's program with pros. And then Etnies opened up a pool. And then it seemed to be like it was on.
It was on.
Yeah. And then, before you know it, there was the Vans Combi contest and all kinds of things.
Bondi. They
Bondi,
have a bunch of stuff
exactly.
over there. Yeah. This is the bowl here. This is not 2000. This is 2001, I believe.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Right there. Tony Alva.
Yeah.
Over the hip.
So
Yeah.
this bowl, that's funny how that you were fully street and then this just ignited a whole new
Yes.
movement.
Believe it or not.
Almost.
that
Not only
was
for you, but for everybody, it sounds like.
everybody. Yeah, it started the beginning. I mean, there was guys, don't get me wrong. Like, there was, what was it? Not Malmo.
Versailles or no?
The one in
France?
France.
Marseille.
Marseille.
Thank you.
Marseille,
Yeah, so Marseille was going down already with, and that was Omar and Tony Trujillo and, that whole crazy crew.
Yeah.
But this kind of closed bowl concept with bringing back, the guys like Caballero and Lance and Christian and myself, whatever, Olson.
Yeah.
That kind of was the beginning of it right there.
Wow.
Amazing.
Damn.
That's so,
Yeah, like little things sometimes
Yeah.
have big fruits. You never know what's going to happen.
that is so crazy, dude. Can you bring up some of the Bondi sessions over there? Because that's a cool bowl.
Yeah.
Too.
If there's one, this girl, Hunter, I think her name is Long. If you hit NoHo, Bondi, there were some runs that I did there that she actually was like good footage.
Oh, yep. Here it is. We got it. Yeah, I've been to Bondi. Listen, I didn't skate the bowl, but it's cool to
But
go to
that park is fun, though.
Yeah, it's cool to go to these places,
Oh my gosh.
This is,
It's funny, Jaron. I think we were on the same plane together flying back from Sydney on one of those trips.
Was it that the trip that like a bunch of like a mixed group of people went?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alex Olson was maybe there.
Was Alex there? Nah, it might be a different trip.
Okay. I could have sworn like we even kind of sat next to each other on the plane.
That's funny. Wow.
Well, that's pretty sick.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
This is it.
Yeah, so like what a great event and right there on the beach.
Bondi Beach.
Look at that,
Beautiful.
man.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nice big bowl.
Is this bowl still there?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
So that was a switch drop, and then I set up for this other trick that I felt I created.
The pop in, pop out.
Yes.
That is sketchy, dude.
Yeah,
It is.
I was like, because what's his name? I'll remember his name in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, so we came up with the name of Nightingale for this trick.
The night. Well, you kind of like half cab 90 out.
Yes.
And then
I'm on the deck.
and then you kind of
deck.
90 ollie back in,
Yeah.
which seems so sketchy for a non-bowl skater. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, with no momentum, like
Yeah.
you're
From a stop.
From
yeah.
a stop, that's
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like, oh, he's done with his run. Oh wait, no, he's not.
Yeah.
But are you olling, or is it just lifting up your?
Oh,
lifting
yeah,
up your-
I'm
I'm
lifting
just
up
kind
your
of
nose?
pulling my board
Ooh,
like
not a-
like a
yeah.
pressure pull.
still,
Yes.
my
Yeah.
God, bro. Yeah. It's so rad, man.
Yeah, so that definitely that event was created by this guy Chad Ford, and and he had great luck in the beginning with this event, and and I gotta say, like anyone who takes on doing an event, I mean that, like whatever, like X Games and even the Combi, they have money backing them, and they're that money is like, okay, here's $2 million, go have fun.
Sure.
But if you're going to like make an event and you're like relying on that money to come in to sustain yourself to the next
Oh
event,
my God.
that's like a real challenge.
Yeah,
And
big
so,
time.
but he did really good, and hats off to him, and and he kind of put Australia really back on the map with this event, and it spawned a whole bunch of other events
Yeah.
that kind of tied a lot of skaters in together, and this was like, we would go out there in January, February. I mean, there was literally 5 contests that we would do.
Okay.
There was this one. There was the one in New Zealand. There was
This is the manual out, by the way.
yeah.
Manual pop out, drop back in.
Yeah, I was happy that I was able to get that trick.
Damn, you went for a minute too.
Yeah, I did a little spacewalk. Thanks to Stacy Peralta.
So sorry, you had to interrupt.
This whole thing, it grew. It was like we were going to Wellington, New Zealand.
Damn.
We were here at Bondi. We were in Newcastle for this thing called the ABC, Australian Bull Riders Championships. And then there was another big contest at Manly. You ever heard of the Soul Bowl?
The Soul Bowl, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, that was this contest our bowl that they had in like Hermosa Beach.
Okay, yeah.
And then these guys put it all in a container and brought it all the way out to Manly Beach in Australia,
Wow.
where I think it still lives today.
How is that even possible?
I know.
Ship it out 3 months beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you just gotta
least,
get there.
yeah.
And then you have to fly these dudes out that know how to assemble it.
Oh, I was gonna say too. Like, are these contests like flying all you guys out too, or how are you guys getting out there? Sponsors and
Yeah,
stuff.
I think it's like always a mixed bag.
Okay.
My sponsors were helping me at the time, and the event was helping me at the time, because we were also doing an art show called Love and Guts, and then that had a lot of great momentum through the years, and during the Bondi years, which included also Wellington, New Zealand, we were having these great art shows, and that was another part that was of this whole big thing that we were doing.
Right.
Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone, almost.
Yeah,
Skate contest, art show.
yeah, they loved it, and and we started off small with the art show. It was just like myself, Lance, and Olson, and then we were at ASR, like did small shows there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I don't know if you know Dylan Radloff.
Oh yeah,
From Oakley.
Yep.
You know Dylan.
I don't
Okay.
know. Orange
Yeah.
County.
Yes. Dylan's a great guy.
Stand up.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was like, dude, we want to do more of these shows. Would you like to do one in Australia and New York, whatever? And we're like, yeah. I didn't know what he was really had up his sleeve, and then we started having these shows, and they were mega shows, and people loved it, and we had great sponsorship, and I just remember like dude, we want to make this bigger, and I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And he goes like, put it this way, we're putting $5,000 to the bar. And I'm like, okay, no, okay, that gives me a little scale here of like how to work
That's
this
just
thing.
a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I had a question. We're talking about Bondi Beach, and I love that place. It reminds me of Venice a lot. I don't, Chris. Is it okay if I ask a different
Yeah,
question?
no, for sure. JC just pulled this up real quick, though.
Okay.
This was the Love and Gut. Where was this one? Were you a part of
That's
this
at
one?
Vans.
This was, this is
One
at
of the Combi.
Vans.
It was either at the Combi contest or it was either Steve Caballero's birthday, but it was
Oh,
still
okay.
at the Combi.
Gotcha. Yeah. There's what is that? Oh, there's Pops Asoy
Yeah.
doing his thing. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, JC, pull up. Oh, there you are. So you guys were going everywhere doing these things.
Yeah. And we did it with Thrasher for a year or two when they were doing their 40-year anniversary.
Okay.
So, yeah.
When was the last one?
The last one was right before the Olympics in Japan. The whole, in fact, if you look on Thrasher and hit Love and Guts,
I'll look it up. Let's see.
there is they did a nice little video piece for that one. And so the whole idea is we were going to do 3 or 4 shows, and the last show was going to be at the Olympics. And then, as you know, COVID hit, and then everything got thrown out, and so the whole thing went away. But we did have like 3 great shows, and Thrasher actually put one up of the shows that we were having. We were skating. They built a special bowl for us.
Really?
Yeah, and it's in the video. And then they had this gallery that was in Tokyo. So we were back and forth, like going past Mount Fuji and
dude.
doing this thing.
Super
And it was really, really nice.
JC, if you can't find the Thrasher thing, maybe bring up some of his artwork that's on the Discord there. What years of Love? Do you remember what year?
So I think if you just hit on YouTube, if you hit Thrasher Magazine, hit Thrasher Love and Guts, it should come up. And there's a photo of Salba, I think, on the thumbnail.
Oh, this is a tour Japan.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here. There we go.
There we go.
So, it's funny to see Salba. We're just and Olson. These dudes were just on the show.
Yeah.
Good. That's incredible. Oh, wait a minute. Was this with the?
This was the time about the storm,
and they went
Yes.
surfing.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
going through all the water.
We were there during Hurricane Hajibish. I think that's the name of it. And we were in the eye of the storm, yeah.
They just told the story.
Yeah.
Olson was waiting. They were trying to he was going back to the hotel. They said Salba didn't want him to go. And then the next morning they all went surfing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
we were
funny.
stuck in like one part, and we were like, we're going to go back to the hotel. And like some of the skaters, I can't remember who, were like, dude, don't go because the power lines are down.
Get
and you're going to get electrocuted. But we just ran.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
When they told it was hard to imagine exactly what they like. It sounded crazy, but you couldn't imagine that video of the water flying down the street was nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the wall that they were. I think this is the
No, it was a big, like they were talking about a big gate.
big gate
like,
that
wall.
was.
Yeah, that's just some sort of water wall that Shota,
That's so
Kubo, and Lance were skating.
That's so funny that they.
But this is the bowl that they made for us.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. This is the park that's just outside the bowl, just a couple little runs.
Oh, the snake run, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No, he was just talking about it. He
Okay.
described it pretty well, of like skate wise, what was going on. But he said he slammed super gnarly.
My God. I was right there. I was standing on the bump that he crashed into, and I literally felt it, like
Shake. That's what he said.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're getting confirmation on this story, man. That's
Yeah.
funny.
He said he only hurt his wrist. No, it didn't hurt that bad.
Yeah, he's like, I just hurt my wrist.
Yeah, he is so tough, and I knew he was more hurt because I saw the slam, and I would have probably been down for a long time.
He said it was like this little rainbow, like this little waterfall thing that was like a foot long or something, and he just he was going too fast.
There was something that caught him off guard because Olson is pretty solid on a board, and I think there was like some little concrete flaw that he mispumped and sent him into that thing like a bug on a windshield.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Damn.
Pull up some art real quick, JC, if you don't mind. How long you been doing the art thing?
My whole life.
Your whole life.
Yeah, really. I mean, my aunt recently gave me some photos of like some of my early work, and it's, my work is like expressionistic and it looks kind of scribbly, but it's kind of my style, and it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah. There's
So
one.
these are kids on skateboards.
A couple other ones too.
Yeah.
There. Can you open them all up, Jay? Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I never had artistic ability, man.
Me either. I always downplay it. Like I just don't try.
Yeah, I don't try
Yeah.
either.
See,
I guess.
but
'Cause I
you know
think
what?
I'm not
This
good.
no, but see, when I see you guys skate,
Yeah.
you guys have the artistic mind,
Right.
especially street skaters, because street skaters they're so creating. You know, like
Yeah.
you're like you put together a shot, and you know this is like, okay, this has to be composed correctly.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has to be photogenic. There's all this other stuff that historically has gone by. You're like, okay, is this going to look right? Is it going to be fresh? Is it going to be new? Is it going to be relevant? All these questions are coming up, and so
Right.
yeah, you are composing and creating performance art.
I guess that's what it is, right? Performance.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I guess.
I can't put the pen to paper and then have it. I can draw you something. It's just a little character that I draw, but nobody's
But isn't
interested
it like,
in it.
Right.
Isn't it interesting? Like, even if you might think you're not good at it, you might have a different approach of doing it than somebody else that
For sure.
stands out so differently, right? That's the way I look at art. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you look at art and you're like, I don't get it. But some people really relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so subjective.
Yes,
Right.
It really
right.
is.
Very.
And it depends, like you could look at art from a complete novice point of view, and you can go to a museum and you're like, wow, I like it, or it talks to me, or I have no connection to this at all. Or you could be like a scholar who studied art their whole life, and you have all this different insight that gives you a whole nother perspective on it. But I really don't think there's like a wrong or right thing, especially as we've gone through so much and so many isms in art that it's total freestyle, and it kind of, a lot of it depends on curators and platforms and who's putting the art up.
The guy put a banana up on the wall.
Oh, my gosh.
Put some duct tape and put a banana on the wall, sold it for millions.
Absolutely, right. It just how is it framed,
why?
and how, what is the backstory?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason, seems like, kind of.
Yeah, if you get the right curator, museum, learning institution behind you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was all about the art that, what is it? It's like a big art house that it was sold at.
Sotheby's or something.
Something
like
something
that.
along
Yeah,
those
There you
lines.
go.
Yeah. So they had that marketing ploy behind
Exactly.
But I think that upsets a lot of people too. It's like,
For
what
sure.
the fuck is this?
Right. Well, but that's what it is. It's supposed to cause
Right.
you to think and to question
Yeah.
what art is.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
totally.
That's what so much of contemporary art is, really. Like there is a shock value
Sure.
part of it too.
Right.
You know what's trip? I went to went to Paris and I saw the Mona Lisa, and I looked into it after, and I didn't realize that it was never finished. The
Oh.
dude, he never even finished it.
Really?
Yeah. It's
What,
still.
what is it? They forgot the nose or the eyebrows or something? What was it?
No, I genuinely have no. I
Okay.
can't remember what he did, but he's like, "Hey, it's just not finished yet." But it's
Really?
still the
is
way.
he going to finish it?
I don't know.
it's been finished to us, like
Yeah, but
a
you just
whim-
think that something this famous,
Yeah.
there's like this whole story behind it, and that's
Yeah.
I think that story, like you're saying, the
Well-
backstory behind it makes it so interesting too.
You want to know about it? The Mona Lisa, Da Vinci started painting it in 1503 but never finished it. Why it's unfinished? Arm injury. Da Vinci may have injured his arm after fainting, which prevented him from finishing the painting. Da Vinci was known to procrastinate and work on one artwork for decades.
Wow.
Da Vinci died in 1519 before finishing the painting. So there you
It's
go.
interesting though, but when you look at it, it looks finished to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Right.
said.
Yeah, you're like, what? But I wanted to ask a question. Is it okay if I?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I just
Please,
wanted
Kelly.
to finish. I wanted
Yeah.
to talk about the art.
No,
stuff.
totally. So I was like, we're talking about Bondi. And it reminds me of like Venice a lot, like that scenario. Like, I want to know when you were skating the marina and you had like that park closed, and then you're skating transition and street skating starts to develop. What was it like here in Venice? Because this is, I feel like, where the mecca of skateboarding kind of started.
Well, one of the things is that we had the wall rides, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like Red Bull last year did that wonderful kind of tribute to that, and I think that was kind of amazing because it brought in a lot of skaters at that time. There was street skating was really heavy, and then there was skaters that had this background of transition, and so and I always thought that going to Venice and guys like Block were building these amazing ramps, that was such a DIY moment, that it's like we don't need anything other than this old abandoned pavilion, and we're going to build off of it. Yeah, all this stuff. And it really was kind of a whole new way of thinking about skateboarding. And street skating really went through a long phase before it narrowed down to what it is now. And so there was so much different variations of it. We were watching Rodney, and you can see his influence starting to come in. There was guys like Gons that were amazing transition skaters, by the way.
Oh, that's at Valley Skating Surf. That's by the house.
Yeah. Right there. Like that's Christian doing street plants.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that, right? That was street skating back then. Right here, Jesse Martinez.
Yeah.
Boom, right there with a tweak.
Yeah, I remember these days.
Yeah. Look at that. Alling over, what is that, 4 boards?
Yeah, they keep stacking.
Damn,
Yeah.
dude.
Wow.
This is probably a world record back then.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, that was so fun to do growing up, too.
Who
That's
was
so
that?
crazy.
That's the demo back then. That's so sick,
Yeah.
dude.
Is that-
Lawn tramps is all over boards.
Dubs is probably right there in the crowd.
No, this is right around the time, though.
That's Eddie Radegui. What was that? Was that Tommy before that?
Which one? That Alling the
With that rocket air?
or the rocket? I don't know. It's hard to tell with the grainy footage.
Yeah.
So sick.
Could pause it.
This is what I'm saying. It's like you can start watching these videos like this.
Oh, yeah, we get stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely Hosoi, I
Is that?
guess.
Yeah, it's a rocket.
Yeah. Doing the rocket
Oh
air.
my god, that's incredible. That's a big ass lawn tramp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had some hefty ones back then, bro.
And I guess the incredible thing about Hosoi is that he could do those tricks like on a jump ramp and just instantly take it into a half pipe and
Just
do the same thing.
Blast it.
Yeah.
Dude, her soy shit was selling so crazy back then.
Oh my gosh.
Bruh.
Yeah, what year is this?
Look at that foot
88.
plant.
Yeah, that
Would
was
you
around
say
the time.
that Venice was kind of the main spot for street skating at one point, or was it kind of just dispersed all over LA?
I you know what? I don't know enough to
Oh,
answer
okay.
that question.
Oh.
I would say that the only reference that I had was Venice and contests. Now, we were skating with Nodis. We were skating with Gons. Julian, Tommy would come down and skate. So that was like my other reference of like what these guys were doing. I don't know what was going when they would break off and do their, and also dressing. So, and also Aaron Murray and Scott Oster, right? So the crew was kind of big. So I don't know what was going on with Neil and those guys and where they were street skating. You know, I saw great photos of him and Lucero and, Lance. So it was hard to tell. And we were all in bubbles, There was no social media.
You were just literally skating in Venice pretty much the whole time.
At that point, yes. Yeah. Or wherever you could to learn tricks. The ollie was like, okay, this is really where you got to have, and it's going to develop your street skating into the next level.
Was it a main destination for people to come to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a lot of skaters that would just show up there, and then the ramps really put it on the map, and so there was, and that's where I'd see everyone. That's where you'd see Gons. That's where you'd see Nodis come down. And
Would you just go down to the pavilion and just hang out all the time, and things would just happen?
Yeah. Well, Christian and I, we were driving already, so we would find places to skate. We were going to Lance's and skating his half pipe, or we would find some ditch or whatever was hot. And then, but like the weekends, and especially if the ramps were up, we were skating there.
Yeah.
It's almost like we had the courthouse, they had EMB, like they had Venice. You know,
Yeah.
that was like one of the hot spots.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, Venice was completely different. You know, there wasn't the homeless issues. There was a lot more relaxed. The pavilion was like really the home base of everything. And yes, you know, I don't know, did you see any of the wall rides?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Oh,
really a big part of it.
It definitely was a destination for me when I was little to go there, and it was like, wow, I got to meet like Tim Jackson and
That's right,
Puma,
Timmy Jackson.
Eric Britton.
Yep.
You know,
Tuma, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't like, I know it sounds weird, but it wasn't like demos going on, right? It was just like full on
No,
sessions
yeah,
going on with
sessions.
ramps, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. We just opened up and started skating, and just the ramps were there, and we were climbing the walls, and they had all these different versions too. Like, you know, like they would set up they had this one wall that was big on one side and small on the other. So we'd have a ramp that would go up the big side and another ramp to catch us on the other side. And we were just flying and just pushing it as far as we could.
Yeah. God, it's so sick.
Yeah.
When did you start? Like, I always trip because I saw that happening, and then as street skating evolved, looking back at it, you start seeing people skating different things at the pavilion. Like they're going inside and skating the benches, and there's the hubba going down. You're like, that must have been a trip to see it like evolve into that type of skating.
Well, just think too, it's like what we were just watching was like 88, right? And so 88, I started skating in like 91, and 91 was like blind video days, and then 92, 93 was like Plan B, questionable virtual. So like just in the matter of like 5 years, it was like
Changed
going
dramatically.
so fast from like
yes.
jump ramp skating to crazy street innovation skateboarding. You're just like, what?
Overnight.
From one video to the next video in the same year sometimes. You're like, how is this even possible?
Yeah, you saw it in the contest in the way that they were trying to literally get rid of some skaters. They were changing the formats. They were like, okay, no more big transition walls, and we're going to just do ledges and so forth and so on. But you know,
And that was alienating some skateboarders.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
On purpose.
You thought
On
you
purpose.
think it was done purposely?
Oh, for sure. For sure. They wanted the new. I mean, I remember the one of the last street contests I was in, that one with that Gone sent me with, I do like a 360 shove it and all that. I mean, that was Matt Hensley. He was in there. He got second. And Jeremy Klein, that was the first time I seen him.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And Gons was there. Guerrero was there. Right. And actually Gons and Guerrero had been around for a while, but there was a new turning at that point. And you could tell that was where it was going. And like you said, quickly thereafter, the courses started changing real fast.
Wow.
And some people were able to adapt, and some people were not. Like as far as like the degree of skating that was happening so fast.
Oh yeah, completely.
How did you fall into that category?
That I got lucky in that school was like really starting to becoming demanding on me, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to still skate. Bowls and pools, whatever, they started showing up. But yeah, I wasn't going to go that route of high-tech street skating. And so...
Did you think you were done when all this was changing and coming in? Or were you like, this is just another form now?
Right. I think my life was changing.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't give that much attention to it because it was at such a high level of what Jason Lee and Gons was doing. You know, that's right when I remember that when they left Vision and got on Blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
You
was
know?
everything.
Yeah, that was a big
That was a
transition.
huge turning
Right.
point.
And it's kind of amazing, like what Steve Rocco did. You know, I still look back and I remember like Rocco just hanging out at the Marina Skatepark. He was just some freestyler guy who seemed to be washed up. You know, he was hanging out with these South Bay guys. And I'm like, what is he doing? You know, he wasn't really skating or anything. You know, little did I know he was plotting to take over the world.
Pretty much.
Literally.
Right? And so then, I remember like a few years later, I'm at the ASR and he hands me a dollar bill. And on the back of the dollar bill is the business card for Blind or World Industry.
He's giving out money.
He's giving out money, right?
But
he's like doing it in this new Rocco style way, right? I mean, and that was like this, the time of Fresh Jive was showing up, and it was just this whole new feel to culture,
right?
And what Rocco was doing was like right in there, and then so I remember, Jason Lee and Gons and they put together I think the first all street team, right? Like there was no vert dudes on there.
I mean, there were some that were like ATV, like they can skate it, but it was a street team.
Well, Blind had, they did have Jordan Richter
for sure.
So they did have the token vert guy.
I forgot about that.
But then after that, there was no vert people.
True.
After that,
True.
Yeah,
that I can remember.
Yes,
in the world.
Like in that. They had people later on, but in that
time frame.
Yeah.
And we were just coming off the cusp of like the late 80s skateboarding, making, some of these pro skaters are making $20,000 a month off of board royalties. So the industry is like hot at that point too.
He seemed to consolidate it all into Blind and World Industries, right? Because if you know like the history, I know that Vision had a really tough time, and I know Powell had a really tough time. And when you talk to these guys, they a lot of it goes towards
going into the early 90s. Yes, other companies outside of World were probably struggling a little bit.
They were citing that what Rocco was doing was making their worlds challenging, and they went straight after him. With the graphics, with the ads. We all know it, right?
Yeah.
And I talked to the guys over at Powell, and they were like, dude, we almost went bankrupt, They had a tough time. And so it seemed to all consolidate into like this one company.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just going to be the street brand of the planet.
Right. And not only that, they had Blind, World, they had a whole conglomerate.
The whole thing about it was, too, it was very short-lived. It wasn't something that was around for 10 years. It was around literally for like 4 years.
Which one?
Like as far as like that aspect of it. I'm not saying like Blind was ever gone after that. I'm saying like this short-lived with
think about this.
Those individuals.
Them owning that part of skateboarding,
girls,
right? Yeah.
Think about this. Girls started in 93.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Once Girls started, their shit started to kind of feel a little bit.
Yeah.
They started to feel a little
No,
bit.
you're,
it wasn't
you're,
Powell, it was them.
No, you're
it.
right. You're right.
And Big Brother was a part of all that too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so, and I don't know, where was Costin in all of this?
He was in he was
on 101.
He was on 101, which was Rocco's company.
Okay.
Yeah. So he went from 8th Street
101
to 101 to Girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's where things got really kind of sour between everybody, right?
When they left for Girl, it was, even Rocco's brother made the company Bitch.
Yes.
That was making fun of all them, that were
Right.
selling really good in Japan. And they were capitalizing off of them leaving.
For a hot second.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And that slowly went away.
Yeah.
But Japan.
They ate it up.
Japan ate it up for sure.
No, that was
Wow.
crazy.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting to put all this together.
Right.
In the context of where it all started. And then, so it was Rocco's empire was what?
I'd say it was running rain. I say for like good 3 or 4 years, if that.
He continued it all after that. He sold it for millions of dollars.
Like tens of millions.
He's chilling. He's a house in Hawaii. He's got
crazy. I heard, right?
Yeah, him and Rodney and all them. They sold it all. But so he did. He kept running it, but
totally.
But the pinnacle
of
it, when he was doing all the ads and the Powell bashing and stealing Richard from Foundation and all this stuff was going on, and I'm
not disregarding anything that was under that roof after the fact, because obviously there was a ton of great companies that came
Prime,
after.
yeah.
But
Almost.
but like legitimizing and where they were from one period to the next, it was a very short
The
period
pinnacle.
of time. Yeah,
Yeah, he captured it. Everyone was looking at them for like a little bit of time.
totally.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about that because it seemed like 10 years.
Yeah.
It seemed like this huge thing.
He made such an impact in such a short amount of time. It was
almost like an art project in itself. Like how I'm going to bring down all of skateboarding and with this group of guys, but you know, the way he did it, right?
Yeah.
Like with the art, with the message, with the media, right? It was like so like super genius.
yes.
It was like
it'd
genius.
never been done before.
It was
Yeah.
controversial. I mean, it's even more controversial these days. Like that. I mean, some of the shit graphics that they had
we'll
was
forever talk about that. You
Yeah.
cannot make any of those graphics that they were making at that time.
No.
Right now.
It's like
Not that you can't make any of them, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them that are very
The-
racy.
Well, yeah, the Nodis one, right? With the, the Ku Klux Klan.
There's so many. That's
Yeah.
why we can miss some. That's how like you know, there's so many.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and
very-
the art was so distinctive.
Mark McKee,
Yeah,
Sean Cliver.
Sean Cliver. Yeah.
right, right.
It was crazy. It's like he literally destroyed the skate industry, but grew skateboarding at the same time, and then just
Well, I
owned
think he
all of
saw
it.
that street
Yeah.
skating.
Yeah.
He saw the street skating. Was like, I'm gonna take the best street skaters and
Right.
just fucking boom.
But like to have that like in your brain, it was it's like the Sting, or something. Like he just had this master plan.
Yeah.
And
he just-
freestylers had some shit going on, but I don't know what it was.
Hey, dude, when something dies, you got to create something new, man.
No, the freestylers ended up running the world anyways.
Straight up.
sure.
I mean, besides Chris Miller. Chris Miller is he's laughing at everybody right now.
Oh, Viore.
Bro,
Yeah.
I had no idea that this dude had such a large stake in that. And he started it, essentially.
yeah,
I didn't know Vior's.
Fiore sold for like $1 billion something dollars.
Bro,
yeah.
he is
Miller.
straight.
Yeah.
Chris Miller is straight
Oh my
chilling.
god! And well, wasn't he already set with Planet Earth and
And audio,
audio?
I mean, probably. Yeah.
I would imagine.
Oh
so.
my god! What a
Very
genius.
I tried to get him on the show. I emailed him, and
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
got
what
him, man.
happened. Yeah,
if he
it'd be
would
so
give us the
interesting.
honor to come on, that would be
That
amazing.
would be-
So what we were saying before, going into like the 90s and everything, when everything was changing, you said you were kind of like already had a different path.
Yeah.
You had a different route.
I had to, my route was to make sure I could pay my rent.
yeah, okay, for sure.
And so I was still skating. I just, and things were going on with the different teams that I was on as well. And I think, that skating was going so tech
Yeah.
that there was like a clear sign to move on. And then, I was focusing on school and working, but I was still skating. There was still things to skate. It was just more underground.
Well, like you said too, in 2000, the Bowl, the Simi Valley, the skate lab kind of reinvigorated everything.
Yeah, there was
too.
a pause, but then it came right back
Yeah.
stronger than ever.
And that's what I love about it too. I love the fact that like your guys in your era are being so celebrated nowadays with the contest, the combi, and all this stuff. And it's just so nice to see. It's like when I went to the Vert Alert for the first, I think it was like the first Vert Alert that they had in Utah. Remember?
Yeah,
At
Salt Lake
at
City.
Salt Lake City at the Street League. To see all these guys together, you got Cab, Hosoi. I don't know if Hosoi, maybe Hosoi was, I don't know. I remember Tony. It was all the legends skating this vert ramp. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to see this again. Like, this is like special.
Yeah.
So it's rad to see these events and you guys just still out there like killing it and just having fun. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, the truth be told, it's that like this was that really strong, innovative group. Like you mentioned, Hosoi and Lance and Cab and Tony, and responsible for so much of what we know of as skateboarding. And when that group goes away, there's going to be really nothing that's going to replace it in that way.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. There will be generations that will replace it, but nothing like, we're talking about the innovators,
The pioneers.
the pioneers. We're
Yeah.
talking about the people who are
Yeah.
inventing tricks in contest runs sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was to me, that's just mind blowing. It's like, oh, we did this, but I had to come in fakie and I was falling. And then there's a new trick, you know. It's like they're making shit up, you know. And
it's
fascinating, and it wasn't even that long ago, Pat.
40, 30, I don't know, a lot of
long time ago.
It's not that long ago.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, like when you look at baseball or football or something, yeah. But a lot has happened. A lot has happened in a short amount of time, and that's what we love about skating is that like every single day there's like something new, and especially with social media now, it's like, oh my God, did you see what this dude did?
Daily.
What
were you about to say, Kelly?
I was just gonna say, like, I think skateboarding gets so big and everyone takes it their own way now with social media. I just really hope that skateboarding, the legacy carries on for everyone in the new generation that knows what came before them. I think that's really important. A lot of kids these days don't look at the past.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just hope that people can understand, like new skaters can know what came before them and be hyped on it.
Sometimes it's all based on who you're skating with too. Like, if you're a younger kid and you have some older dudes that you're skating with and they're going to kick knowledge down to you, like, hey dude, you should probably check these videos out. Just to kind of like, I think there is that there still, but there's definitely like the new age kids that just, they don't care. They just want to go out and skate. You know what I mean?
I think that's a great point. Like where is it going to go? I think that because social media is so strong, right? When we all went to Skateboarder Magazine or Thrasher to get our perspective, and to see what was happening, it was curated for us, and then whatever Instagram comes in, and it has such a strong presence, and I think also with the passing of Jeff Grosso and Jake Phelps, too, those guys were so influential to what we do and what we believe in and how we do it. Now it's just completely decentralized, the whole thing, and I often wonder, like, what is that going to look like?
In the future.
I think it's like Jerron says, it's like it's the guys, it's going to be the industry, the teams that are going to drive it. Maybe I don't know.
I think it's the kids.
There's no committee like telling you like this is how it's going.
No,
you know
but
what I mean?
it's like the kids are always going to take it to wherever they want to go, and that's awesome. That's exactly what we all did. Yeah. Everyone did the same thing, and that's totally fine. I just hope that they can do that and also keep carrying the torch for what came before them to let them know this is where it came from, and this is like that's important. I think if you just start skateboarding and then you just don't recognize what came before you,
I think it's important. But also I will say that when I first started skating, I didn't care about what came before me. I didn't. It didn't until later on that I started to discover. Oh, there was the band this, and there was this, and there was H Street, and still I wasn't. You slowly kind of school yourself, and
I was different with it. I think.
But that's the thing. It's like I'm totally different. Same era, but different.
I wanted it all. Like I went to the video shops and video super shop right by the house, and they had like a little skateboard section. That's how I know about like all these contests because they had videos. Street Style and Tempe, Holiday Havoc, all these ones that were very impactful for me. And this is just contest.
Right.
Then the Bones Brigade show came out, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah. And then it got into where we are today.
See, so it's like same. We end up in the same place, but different. Like you cared about it, and I didn't, till later on. And I was hanging out at Hot Rod Skate Shop and this, and then there are certain dudes that were like, you start to see Eric Dressen around. I'm like, oh, Eric Dressen, like legend. Like let me go look and see what he did. So for me, it was just kind of more of like a slow. Oh, let me see what happened in the past, and I respect it, but it didn't really click for me till later.
And it's easier for people these days to find that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's on
100%.
the internet. Everything's there for you.
100%.
Well, dude, like when I started skating, I felt like that skateboard was like a basketball or baseball. It was just, it's been there forever. It's always been a skateboard. And so I was just like, oh, cool. But like when you started skating, like you're seeing the skateboarding literally start. There's nothing coming before it. You're like, this is something completely new. So, I mean, like, I just think it's awesome that, like, you kind of start something, and that's why we're all here today, is because of these things that you guys did and cared about it. And it transferred to all of us. I think it's really cool.
And still do care about it.
Yeah. Oh, myself?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know how it ends, and I just know that day by day, I still it's still important to me. I'm still getting a lot out of it. I learned so much about myself, I think, through art and through skateboarding, and it's that it's just that way we interface with something. I think that when you interface with something creative, there's a bigger message in there. And so as long as my body allows it, I'm just going to keep skating. I mean, I'm sure you guys skate quite a bit still, right?
Try to.
Yeah.
Try to as much as possible.
My body's messed up, dude.
Street skating takes a little bit more out of you than, you know.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
You know, even when you make things, it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
You know that's a problem. Oh, God, I just landed this trick and it fucking killed me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's like a masters street skating group.
Well,
I mean, dude, like imagine.
That's what I said
crazy?
before. Imagine 60-year-olds skating a 4-foot ledge.
Well, I trip out on
yes,
P-Rod.
wait.
Paul Rodriguez, we're the same age. We're 40, and my hip is done. Like, I skated so hard skating street that my hip just wore out. I can't really skate anymore. This guy can still jump down 10 stairs, and you're like...
Andrew Reynolds.
Andrew Reynolds.
Right. Andrew Reynolds.
He's got, almost 50?
Yeah.
Late 40s? And he's still frontside flipping big-ass stairs? You're like, only a couple amount of people can keep doing that.
But Paul's being, like, speaking of Paul's being very proactive on how he's maintaining his body, what he's eating. Like, he's a very, like, I'm so stoked to see him where he's at with skating right now. It's amazing.
But couldn't you guys, as street skaters, it seemed like, you know, the stairs and the rails kill, right?
I never.
Isn't there like a reduced version? Like maybe we could do slappies or something.
That's what we're doing now down there at the Nodis curbs down at the beach. Yeah. You know, I wanted to bring this around full circle because we found the photo, but this was the Herbie Fletcher.
There you go.
Oh wow,
that was the pool. You said he was the first one to kind of get in there, and
I mean, there's debate, but hey, when you present a photo that's from 1964 and you're up there on the vert, you could pretty much say that if you weren't the first dude, you are the first dude. You know?
Yeah, you got the photo, bro.
I mean, it says
evidence. Yeah.
You said 64, but it says 63 here, so this could be.
I was guessing.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a good guess.
A good guess.
Yeah.
63. But look at this, bro. I mean, he's barefoot.
As most surfers were.
Got the board. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
I just love that, like, they skateboarding and they're like thinking outside of like surfing and trying to do something innovative and finding an empty pool.
Yeah.
And that changing the game just off that decision.
It's probably just happenstance too.
Well,
it's like,
but he's a surfer, so he's relating to it like a wave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
And just finding, like you said, finding a pool and just starting at the bottom probably and just cruising around and being like, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to see how high I can get.
What does this shirt say?
What does it say? Jack Haley? Jack Heating?
Must be a like one of the local surf teams.
Maybe.
Is that like a ball in the light hole?
Damn.
It looks like it.
Tell. But yeah, it's super interesting,
Great
dude.
shot. Shit.
Yeah.
I love it, bro.
Graffiti's been around forever.
Right.
Yeah. Did you ever go up to? We were talking about it with Olson and Salba. Did you ever go? Were you into the full pipes? Did you ever go up to Baldy and do all that stuff?
You know, oddly, I never skated Baldy. I skated Upland.
Okay.
And we found some. Through the years, we found some pretty big pipes.
Yeah.
I skated Santa Ofre.
Is that which one is that?
That one was made famous by Tony Alva. He did a whole shoot there. And I'm sure it's online somewhere.
To down in Orange County?
It's at Camp Pendleton. It's
okay.
on Pendleton.
Like past San Clemente?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, speaking of Dennis Ogden, we were with him coming back from a contest in San Diego. And there was like some skaters that were on the freeway. You know, we saw the stickers and we were just kind of vibing them and like, hey, whatever. And then the dude just goes, follow us.
Okay.
Literally, this goes down on the 405 or the 5.
You're driving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they drive us onto the base, and there's like, full military, and they wave us through onto the base. And then there's these pipes. I mean, they were massive, like these big, 20-foot, huge, monster pipes. And I saw the Alva stickers up there. Somehow Tony got in there. He got these great photos, and everyone knows it. And but we got a chance to skate them. And
is this it, or is this something
those
different?
are the Arizona desert
These are
pipes.
Arizona desert. Okay.
But maybe if you hit Tony Alva, and there was a name for it too. That was like something land or
Santa Onofre. Huh?
Santa Onofre. Yeah.
It's a famous surf spot right in that zone too.
Yes, yes. But it was on Camp Pendleton.
Mm-hmm. Who were they? Were they military people that skated? How did you get onto the like? How did they just?
Oh, those guys! I had no idea. Well, I was too young, in my world. I just wasn't asking questions.
I got you.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, right?
They were just like, I think they were grunts.
Okay.
And they skated. And then whatever, they just put two and two together, and they're like, dude, we're going to go ride these pipes, and we got a day off, and follow us.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking for it. I don't know if we could find it, but it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this has been incredible. I love to hear the old war stories and stuff. It's so amazing. And where we've been, where you guys have been and where you are now, and the whole Combi thing and the legends. I wish the Combi was still... It sucks the way that had to end, them kind of closing that down. And because it wasn't skated for what, 4, maybe 7 years or something, maybe longer than that, the Combi?
Yeah. There was the bike accident.
The bike, yeah.
And then you heard about it, right, Kelly?
No, but that just sounds terrible.
Yeah,
what
so
happened?
there was some guy was going for something crazy on this big vert ramp, and he literally passed away trying this trick.
No way.
Something happened there.
And so Vans became very sensitive about like different things.
I think it was the mall too.
Yeah.
I think the mall had a huge. They didn't want it anymore.
So they closed it down, and then right after that, it was COVID.
Yeah.
And then I think we skated a couple times for like Lizzie did something there, and I think Bucky had a birthday. But then it was basically shut down for a long until
this last hurrah.
event. Yeah.
So this is the last event, or what's?
That was the last. They're tearing the whole thing out.
They're tearing it down.
Yeah.
I think it had a lot to do with the mall. That's what I heard.
It's
I
been
heard
there for
that
a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the mall just didn't want it anymore.
Liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they brought them in because they brought in a certain demographic, and the whole idea was, all right, if we get all these kids, they're going to go into the shops and whatever.
Yeah.
And so they were always kind of going back and forth. And then, I can remember the last 5 contests, they were always saying, this is the last one. This is
right.
the last one.
Yeah.
And I, to the point where you're like, okay, whatever. And, but yeah, you really felt like the people I was talking to, like they were like, oh yeah, they're going to rip this out. We already have another spot that we rented. We're moving, the store is.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
What about it? Could you do it down here at the skate park though? That's like that bowl is like kind of gnarly, but like I feel like that'd be a good place to do it.
You mean have a contest or?
Yeah, like a reunion type thing. I've seen.
Oh, you could do it anywhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, just trying to think of like a genuine place that everyone kind of go to.
I think though that bowl is so epic, and it's become kind of a standard that I really wish that there was more of that just flat out make the same bowl.
You talking
in Brazil, yeah,
Yeah.
in France.
They could have made it right
Australia.
here in Venice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like the Venice one? Is it okay? Is it kind of gnarly? Is it not fun? Or?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I like the snake run. The snake run's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of, but the pool itself, it was always something different with the transition, and I never understood it. And I talked to Lance, and I think he was the guy behind the design, and he was saying that the builders put the guides in backwards, and so there's like a little kink at the bottom of the bowl.
Is there?
Yeah, and so whatever. I don't, most skaters don't think of it, but I feel it.
Right.
And it doesn't always feed back into itself nicely. It's not one of my favorites. I mean, I do like Culver City. That is a fun bowl. Combi, of course. Luckily we have HB, which is the reverse Combi.
What about the Cove? Santa Monica.
The Cove is okay.
It's okay.
I mean,
yeah.
it's for a nice big wall. It's like almost 11 feet deep, so you can get some nice big air there.
Okay.
Good coping and.
You ever gone to Pedalo in the valley?
I have. I rode that pool I think once or twice, and there's a weird kink in it.
Yeah.
But
I've heard that a couple of times.
yeah. The shallow one's cool.
Garvanza.
Mighty shreds it.
Mighty does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garvanza.
I'd never skated Garvanza. I know that's a pool that Lance built.
Yeah.
And and you see God, what's his name? But anyways, the locals there just tear that up.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Sick. Well, I hope to see you guys out there at some other contest or some get together or something. Hopefully Vans can keep something going, because I feel like Vans is the, they have the power and the ability to keep something going like that. You know?
Well, that's the beauty of Vans. They've always had that the heritage.
Yeah.
In mind when they do their programs, and that's why they got Lance and Cab and Hosoi and Tony Alva. But we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what though? Skating's weird. It's like it's just when things go away and then other things just seem to pop up.
Yeah.
I don't usually think that way. Like, one door closes, another door will open, but. I don't know. It's
weirdly enough, it does.
Yeah.
And you also have Steve Van Dorn over there, which is, he champions for skateboarding a lot. That man has done more for skateboarding than any skateboarder has. He's never even skateboarded in his life.
Especially
it's
for bowl skaters. Like
it's crazy.
Like he's, I think, he really started that whole revolution with the bowls and bringing it up to that scale.
Yeah.
And what he and Christy and the rest of the Vans family and the whole brand, it was just part of their whole belief system. Mm-hmm. So, and they, the other thing is too, is they really listen to the skaters. They get good feedback and they talk to Lance and Hosoi and Cab and they make sure that everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And Jeff when he was alive.
By the way, we have this. Is that it? This is Grosso's Love Letters.
That one with Dave Hackett might be it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Nukeland.
That, remember I said it was like something land?
Yeah.
And I guess it is Nukeland because it was by
Pendleton.
The nuclear tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Everywhere I go, there's something that reminds me of her.
Yeah. Which is that
gun.
still going, or has it been decommissioned? Or
I don't exactly know, but I don't think it's going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Arizona. Yeah. But look, that was pretty darn high, and I guess that's the machine that makes them.
That is so crazy.
Moves them.
There you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. It's a good time, dude. Pat, dude, this has been incredible, dude. Thank you so much for sharing all your stories and everything. Can we give you some 9 Club stuff to take home?
I would love it.
On your walk home.
I know, I'm close by, but I just wanted to say congratulations to you guys and all your success.
Thank you,
it's
dude.
Great to watch this show and to watch you guys grow. And this is awesome for skating.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Kelly, we do the honors and get him
a T-shirt?
Yeah, or either.
Hoodie.
Oh, a
T-shirt.
hoodie? I think a hoodie. I'm XL.
XL. T-shirt large.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
XL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we'll bring out a couple things for you, and then we'll no, not yet. We want to keep this going, dude.
Okay.
Man. What are you doing now? Are you focusing on your art at the moment?
I'm always focusing on my art.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with the art and the skating, it's like such a personal thing, and that you just learn so much of it. I know that I need to be more proactive and taking steps to become more out in the open and to sell the work,
Sure.
become part of a gallery, etc.
Well, I was gonna say because thank you, Kelly. I was gonna say because like you used to do the shows with Olson and Lance and all them. Like, I feel like you guys have a certain community. You guys could pop up these shows or do some type of galleries together or something like that. Is that ever in the talks with you guys, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think artistically, a lot of us has kind of like gone our own way.
Sure.
Love and Guts we had our last show that was in 2019. And then I know the guys were doing other shows, and I think there was a lot of personal projects that came up. And I feel that for what I'm doing, I might want to maybe go out on my own to promote my stuff and my work in a healthy way. So I don't know. We'll see.
Not opposed to it though.
No. I mean, if someone said, "Hey, let's go do one more Love and Guts show in Japan," I would be like, "Okay,
yeah, hey, why not?" Yeah. Another perk of skateboarding in the art world, right? Traveling.
Yes, exactly.
So good. First of all, Pat, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
Kelly,
give you a couple things. I don't know if you're a coffee or tea guy, maybe a hot beverage person.
I do like tea. I do love water.
Okay. Well, look, this is, I use this thing every day. This is a Yeti 20 ounce.
Wow. And it's a 9 Club signature.
That's it.
Really
That'll
cool.
keep your warm beverage
cool.
warm for hours and hours and hours. And then also on the sessions, whether it be art or out in the pool,
Okay.
Keep hydrated, put some water in there. It'll keep your drink cold.
No, I mean, this is a nice big container.
They're beautiful.
And Yeti just is like a really good company, right?
The beautiful thing about those too is a lot of them are not dishwasher safe. Those you throw them in the dishwasher.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, we got the Skull Candy. I don't know, maybe you're going to pop some headphones on and do your artwork, but we got some Skull Candy Hesh Evos for you. Boom. And
thank you.
This is a recent thing, Pat, but I got to tell you this. We've made bolts. It's called Nuts and Bolts.
Now, is this just you guys?
This is just 9 Club Nuts and Bolts.
Okay.
But we have the biggest team in skateboarding. Whoever is on our show is on the team.
Okay.
And I don't care if they already have a bolt sponsor. You see, so you're on the team.
All
There's
right,
your first package.
Thank you.
There's your first package.
Appreciate it.
There's your first package. 2 sets of 9 Club Nuts and Bolts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, if you like Phillips or any size, we have different sizes. We have different kinds.
Okay.
So we'll exchange those if you don't want I don't know what those are. Maybe 1 inch or something like that. You skate riser pads or no?
No.
By the way, beautiful
Thank
board
you.
up here. We got a.
Super sick.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who did this graphic and what is the story behind it? Is there one?
I designed it.
Nice.
And the story behind it is kind of my homage to Dogtown. They actually had I believe a hand-drawn graphic. Maybe Jim Muir had it with the eye and the star. And I was always really impressed with that. I mean, I've always been impressed with Dogtown. I mean, those guys have unknowingly kind of been my mentors through so much of my early life, And so I've always felt like a loyalty to that culture.
Yeah, and they're still going. Jim Muir,
yeah.
still do. Yeah, but let me tell you something. I'm going to throw Jim Muir under the bus right now. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I've been trying to get that guy on the show forever.
I'm sure he wants to be here.
But how he hasn't. I'm throwing this out there at you, Jim Muir. I'm talking to you right into the camera. Come. It would be so much fun. I mean, what history.
But wait a minute.
Dogtown.
You guys were on that double text that came to me.
Yes. Yeah, I asked Jim for your number.
So how did that not go
Jim
down?
Jim called me the other day. I talked to Jim not all the time, but I talked to him.
So then how come he never showed up?
Ask him right there. Why hasn't he showed up?
Jim, we want to hear your story again. I mean, I love it.
I thought it would be a good time to just have fun and throw him under the bus. But because I love Jim, and he is Dogtown. I mean, come on, it's
my God.
It's as it's
legendary.
Thank you. I was at a loss.
When I was a kid, one day I ditched school with a buddy, this guy Chano Alvarez, and we just rode our bikes all around, and we went to the skate park. But before that, we were hanging out at the beach in Santa Monica, and it was a hot day. It was kind of early in the morning, and we were just walking down the bike path, probably like where the Nodis curbs are, in that area. And there was just this dude walking right towards us with like these big boots and like down. I was like, "Who's this guy?" You know, because Jim is big.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, it was Jim Muir. Yeah, it was Jim Muir. And like, luckily, I knew him, but he knew Chano, and it was just like it turned out to be like one of those best days. Like, you're so glad that you just left school, and I got to meet Jim Muir at the beach, and then we went and hung out, and then we skated all day at the Marina Skatepark.
Wow,
so
legendary.
Yeah, he's always been like in the mix. Like at that time, like Dogtown was kind of like fraying, but the guys that you would see at the park all the time were Jay, Tony, Red Dog Muir, Shogo, and Stacy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Could you imagine? Could you imagine just being thrust back there in that time at that skate park and being there?
Yeah, those were like literally our mentors. Like Christian and I skated with those guys every single day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So good. 9 Club shirt for you. There you go.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we appreciate you, Pat. And dude, thank you for coming in and sharing all these stories with us.
Oh my God, it's been so much fun. I got to meet you guys in person and hang out on the show.
Also, you know, we have been doing these you know, quote unquote duo episodes. You know, we had Steve and Salba on the show. I'm trying to line up a few more. So maybe in the future we could do a duo episode and get somebody else in here and just tell more war stories.
I would love it. I saw the one with Ryan and
Tyson
Bowerbank.
Yeah. That was like that is like a nice little relationship dichotomy thing. Like it worked well.
It's so fun, man. I want to I would love to get like Tony and Hosoi on. Could you imagine that?
That would be a great show.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Did you know that Hosoi rode for Alpha for a little bit?
For a quick second,
yeah. And some of the greatest ads, and just like, to me, like the two biggest, strongest personalities in skateboarding, right? Yeah. And like, whoa, like you guys were on the same team. Like, what was that like? You know?
That would be good. Well, we need to get Alva on the show just in general. Yeah,
definitely.
Has he not been here?
No.
Oh my God.
There's been a lot of people, Pat, that we haven't.
But has he got the invitation?
I'm gonna DM him for sure. Yeah.
Maybe we got to get his phone number because it seems like sometimes when you go in the DM, like some people don't even check their DMs.
Yeah, it's true.
And if they're not following you, they're definitely going to be.
I'll see if I have his number. I think I do.
So there you go. Yeah. Get Jim Muir to connect him like they did with Pat.
I'll get Jim. Yeah. You know what, Jim? Just give me all the numbers, you know? Pat, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yes. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, that was fucking great.